Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats and Mayhem. I am your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. Joined today once again by Byron Fever over there at Byron Fever. What's up, Byron?
Hold on, I'm telling Vinny in the chat room no spoilers.
Oh, no spoilers?
I haven't seen the
I like spoilers.
I haven't seen the show this week. So I don't want Vinny to spoil it for me in the chat room.
All right. Also joined today by at Lucha Gringo, the infamous Smangry one, the Madman. Casey, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Meatloaf, suck a dick, take her rules. Woo! Now, hi, everyone. I decided to use the great Christopher Lee as my avatar today for no reason.
I like that. I like Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's solid.
Ugly.
I don't know what Byron just said because his mic kind of sucks, but it sounded like he said he wanted to face fuck somebody.
I think you did.
It's because your face is ugly. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Krabs. I really don't get what's in that guy's head ever and what's going on, but I appreciate it.
Are there any other shout outs I need to give?
We need
Dude,
a shout out to
Johnny Ace, man. It's his birthday and shit.
Oh, fuck. For real?
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, happy birthday.
I want to give a shout out to Matt Stryker giving a shout out to the explosion. That was Johnny Ace. If you read the tweet.
He called him the explosion that is Johnny.
No, his birthday. Him, like, you know, what happens when you're born. He was giving a shout out to that explosion.
Oh, nice. Nice. I'm already out of things to say, Justin.
Oh, well, don't worry, because I've got plenty of things to say. Shout outs to anyone who's bought one of our shirts, First and Foreskin. There's a good solid 20 people out there that own them. Nobody rocks them like Kevin Flynn, but that's my shout out. So if you bought a shirt, let us know in the chat room and Byron will shout you out because those are the people we really care about. They're the people that keep this fucking show in the air.
Yeah.
But not Meatloaf because he's fucking banned for life. No shout outs.
Is he still banned for life?
Dude, you know what? That hurt from saying the Sting is better than the Undertaker, that a fucking mime is better than the Undertaker.
Guys, we have important questions popping up.
He's also Cuerno's biggest fan, though, so you know how I feel about it.
We have important questions popping up in the chat room.
What's the important question, Byron? It's probably about you, right? It's going to put yourself over?
Okay, we don't have to take it.
Yeah, I was right, isn't it? No, go ahead. What's the question? Because now we want to know. Now we want to see how you're going to put yourself over.
Hey, Batman fan, what's your favorite Batman comic? Do you even know who the fuck Bruce Wayne is, you fucking poser?
Mr. Krabs asked if Byron was at some NXT tapings that aired recently, and I would like to say that, yes, I was there keeping the show going with my enthusiasm. You can see me clapping for Chris Hero. What you didn't see was me giving him the forearm salute, and then he saluted me back. And then, unfortunately, he lost, but he lost to Tommy N, so I think it was okay.
Those aren't even WWE names. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Dude, I know Tommy N because that guy's my fucking hero. Love that guy.
I wore my Tommy N shirt while I was saluting Chris Hero.
What's his new name?
Aleister Black. Casey, what does it mean?
Well,
that's not a terrible name.
It's after Aleister Crowley.
There you go.
Fucking great. Look him up. There's a lot of butt fucking in that story. Okay.
There you go.
Vinny, I don't know if you listened to last week. I see that you're in the chat room, but you should definitely listen to last week's episode since we gave you high praise for your match against the Machine.
Because we absolutely fucking buried you.
Oh, that was an awesome match.
Did we bury him last week? I thought we were going to bury him this week. I thought this week was the week to bury everyone.
We were nice to Vinny. The people that were on the show this week is who we're going to be mean to. And the people that created the people that are on the show this week.
Wait.
Okay, well, before can we do it in order of hierarchy? So that we're shitting on people from the top down.
Yeah, but also I want to not reveal who the new guy is until people watch him wrestle so that they can rack their brains trying to figure it out. And Meatloaf, if you tell them in the fucking chat, I'll hate you forever.
All right. So
we'll tell them next week.
All right, so here's the first place I got to start. What really got under my skin this week, after a rather lovely week of a weekend of watching Glow and then of getting out of Kansas City and getting back to LA, that was all very lovely. Then I went to Raw on Monday, which I'll talk about a little bit later.
Gross.
Some of it was gross. Some of it was definitely gross. Some of it was awesome. Some of it was really, really gross. And then, you know, I get this text message from a good friend of the show that reminds me of a very, 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 very sore subject. Got a text from Marty Elias, and I think it was kind of a blanket text. Maybe he sent it to everybody. Maybe he just sent it to me. I don't know. But it came, and it said, today is the 1-year anniversary of the end of Ultima Lucha 3. And I was like, that's not a good thing.
No.
This is a wrestling program that's on the air right now, and it has not taped a single match in over a fucking year. A year.
And we've got, what, like 15 episodes left this season? Something like that?
There's a lot of episodes left in 3.
And they're good ones, too. But, I mean, I can't believe it's been seriously a year since we've been to the temple. We have an episode in the can from that day that I thought we would have run forever ago. I don't even remember what's in there anymore. Where we came back and gave our live feelings and our live opinions right after Ultima Lucha Trace, because we were so amped up. Because that was back at the height of like, dude, this show is awesome. Keep it going. This is the greatest thing that ever happened to wrestling. Right?
Yeah.
So what happened?
And we also completely shit on something that we're going to shit on even more tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, totally. I haven't seen the episode, but I agree.
Oh, yeah, I don't. Well, you were there.
Yeah.
You'll remember everything from it, except the vignettes, and the vignettes were nothing. There was only one vignette that you don't know about, but we will tell you about that at the end of the show.
Wonderful, because I will watch it tomorrow.
My question is, whose fault is this that I have not been to the temple in a year? Whose fault is this? Who do I have to blame? Is it EV Dub? Is it Dorian? Is it MGM? Who am I mad at right now?
I would blame El Rey because it's basically your distribution drives your production, so they don't need to start taping new episodes yet. So
they don't? Well, I mean, if they're not starting until fall, these episodes will be done by then, and then how long in post-production are they going to need? We're talking about no new episodes until 2018 then?
But it's a television series. It's not.
Yeah, but I mean, even network shows, look at how many episodes they're trying to do. They're trying to do 40 episodes.
Yeah.
A network show does 23, and they only go off for 3 months in the summer.
Well, if El Rey felt that they needed to start taping, then they would tell the guys to stop taping, and they'd have to figure it out. And I think El Rey, whatever the logic is, they push the season back to promote other shows, and they don't feel like they need, however long it takes to film, and then have something done.
Well, see, and I don't mind the hiatus that they did in the middle of. Well, I do, but at this point, I'm over it. I get it. It's a TV thing, It's the same thing Walking Dead does with part A and part B of a season. Whatever. That's how you're getting it done. That's how you're dropping in your new shows, bolstering your network. That's what you got to do. And I dig where they're at right now, and they're pushing the fact that they have original programming. They're pushing all those shows. They're trying to make something out of it. It's the start of something. It's not something, but it's the start of something. I get that. But at the same time, if this is one of your flagship programs, and you are at the start of something, and you're basing these other shows off of this thing, why is there not more of it already in the pipeline? Like, or at least even guaranteed in the pipeline? I haven't even heard for sure. Like, I've heard that some talent is still reserving dates in early fall to come do Lucha stuff and not really taking dates then. But you saw what happened the last time they did that. A lot of talent screwed themselves over, and they were hella pissed about it.
And I've seen a lot of talent saying I'm available throughout the year too. But I got a question for you guys. Like, I actually don't know the answer to this, but you guys might know. Did they pick up From Dusk Till Dawn for another season, or is that shit canceled?
It is not canceled, but it is not picked up from last I heard.
So that's their 2 flagship shows in limbo.
Yeah, Dusk Till Dawn is considerably more expensive, though.
Yeah.
For a lot less product. I mean, for the same amount that they spend on 8 episodes of Dusk Till Dawn, they can get 40 to 80 episodes of Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Even with the price of it going up, or talent increasing in price, or them trying to back a money truck up to Puma and him saying no. I think that it's just cost effective wise. Lucha Underground is a better bet, but that's the other reason why there's just absolutely no reason why it's not coming back. There's absolutely no reason why they're not cranking it out.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see not cranking it out if DJ were like, no, cranking out this much product is softening it and we can't write it good enough, or blah, 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 like for a creative reason to slow it down. That's not what's happening. He's ready to write seasons 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah,
and they're going to miss their window on freaking Roach. Chris Roach has Big Brother, possibly Big Brother Over the Top coming, a newborn. Like, when the hell's he going to have time to write season 4 now?
What is Big Brother Over the Top? Do they settle things by arm wrestling?
Yeah, you wish. Like, change that grip,
change the grip, turn the hat around.
Yeah.
Fucking Lincoln Hawks, son.
Love that movie. Great movie. Actually, filmed a little arm wrestling thing on my show, but I can't tell you any more about it. You just have to watch when my show actually comes back, because we're filming new episodes. Byron's filming episodes.
I just wrapped. I have to go tomorrow and get a couple of after shots, and then I have to pack up and FedEx gear back to New York.
We're not going to be on against each other, are we? What night is VIP on?
15th, July 15th, or on the DIY network.
What night of the week is that?
If I only knew. I'm looking it up.
Is that Saturday or Thursday? Or July 15th? Damn, that's a quick turnaround.
Saturday.
That is a Saturday.
We already have our first 2 episodes done.
Who the fuck puts first run shows on Saturdays? Jesus Christ.
I don't know, man.
Sorry, Byron.
Well, you can catch
it's lifestyle programming.
House of Cars on Monday, on Motor Monday, starting Labor Day. It's my new show.
So are you up against Raw, Justin?
I will be up against Raw, and I'm not too worried about it after some of the shenanigans they've been pulling in their declining numbers.
Taking it to Vince, like fucking Justin Bischoff over here, taking it to Vince.
Going head to head, baby. Let's see what happens. Anyway, I don't know. You guys know me. I'm a shill and a half for Lucha Underground, but I'm really salty about this 1 year since being there, because one of the things I like more than anything is seeing Lucha Underground live, being in TV and being a wrestling fan, and then seeing how those two things converge and seeing what DJ and Evie Dub and the talent have pulled off. Like, dude, that fucking Kill Shot Jeremiah match was better live. It was good on TV, but it was better live. It really was.
I'm laughing because there's another podcast going live right now, and I just gave it a thumbs down, and so did J-Man, and I need things.
Who's going live right now? I mean, I guess you shouldn't put him over.
I don't want to put him over, but thumbs down.
Are they getting crushed in the ratings? Poor guys.
I don't know. I think they have more viewers and more.
Hey, what the fuck? We got all these people in the room, and there's only 3 thumbs up right now. Come on.
I'm seeing 7 thumbs ups.
We got 7. Bro.
Okay, that's good. I just thumbs up too.
Look, Zeus King, watch a Street Outlaws instead of Raw. We'll be in that time slot, Zeus King. So
watch your show.
It'll be good.
I watch your show over Raw, dude. I don't watch Raw anymore.
Anyway, I'm really salty about this year off thing. I like going to the temple. I plan on going back. Maybe a lot of other people don't. If I'm in town, I certainly plan on trying to go back and see some more live Lucha Underground. I think it will still be, if certain people are still there, Jeremiah and Dante and Killshot and Mill, Pentagon, it's a no-brainer for me. I'll still go. I mean, I'll go see those guys on the Indies, so why wouldn't I go see them at Lucha Underground?
It's just so much fun to be at the temple anyway. The vibe is really cool, and everyone from talent to the crowd, they all just seem to be there to have fun.
Casey, you ever going back? I mean, you got to take Stryker on in the name game at some point.
Yeah, I do eventually. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If it ends up being like Son of Havoc versus Son of Madness versus Son of Anger versus Son of Intestinal Discomfort, then fucking maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, well, we'll get to Son of Whackness in a minute because I'm not
Did
a fan.
they actually kept that gimmick going? They didn't cut that out?
No, they didn't cut it out.
They started it this week. We
Casey,
don't
I
want
think I owe you $10.
Shit, you know, I don't remember which one of us bet what, Byron. Let's just call it a push.
We both lost.
The chat room is asking why we haven't seen King Cuerno this season, and all I can say is I don't know or care, and I'm fine with it. What do you guys think? I know you guys like Cuerno a little more than I do.
His back was hurt, dude. Be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the back was hurt.
No, like in real life, he had a big back injury.
You can't do the baby voice for King Cuerno when it's clearly Prince Puma. I want to congratulate him on the success of Baby Driver, the movie named after his new finisher.
Nice. I really want to see that movie, by the way.
I want to give mad respect to the true king, King Cuerno. And I'm very glad that no one forgets to say king in front of Cuerno, because King Cuerno is a true king inside the ring.
Are you saying Ricochet's not a king like Jerry Lawler?
I'm down with calling
No,
a lot
I like
of people
Ricochet.
king. I'd like to say hello to King Vinny Massaro in the chat.
What's up, King Vinny?
And King Jerry Lawler, you know.
I'm so happy King Jerry Lawler is such a king.
Wait, I'll tell you who cannot be a king, though. Kevin Cross cannot be a king because that's one too many Ks for my taste.
Oh.
So
listen, Justin.
We could have just King Cross.
Don't make this all about you, Justin.
That's why he calls himself either Kevin Cross or Killer Cross. It's never Killer Kevin Cross.
True that.
But you know what? Killer Carl Cox used to do that shit.
Oh, son of a bitch.
always making this political, Justin. We're trying to have fun here.
Yeah, so is Meatloaf really a fan of Phantasma / Cuerno / Purple Hunter dude?
I think so. I think the guy's really good. Why wouldn't you be a fan of his?
Yeah,
good at what? What is he good at? Somebody tell me what he's good at.
The fucking arrow from hell, bro.
Yeah. Who's gonna do better than that?
Dive.
So what? Listen, as Randy Orton says, it's not that doing a dive is bad. It's make it count and also do it on a show that can afford to pay for your hospital costs.
Dude, whatever. That little 12-year-old girl at House of Pain at Steve Payne's shop did the fucking dive just as good as Cuerno any day.
Lit.
I'm not. That's all. That discussion's over after that.
Just saying. I'm just saying. There's people that can do a Canadian destroyer, and then there's not.
Oh, I really hope that move stops happening.
Hey,
why?
Let's not shit talk Virgil. Come on.
Virgil was supposed to be doing a flippy pile driver on someone, and he looked like he was hanging on for his life the whole time.
He just he fell over the guy and was like sliding down him, and then finally the other guy just threw himself back like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm just gonna help you and kill myself.
What's the kayfabe explanation over Virgil getting scared in the middle of a Canadian destroyer?
there's no explanation for that.
It's because he ate a lot of Olive Garden and he had a stomach full of meat sauce, and when you start to flip, it kind of goes up your esophagus and it gets all burny and shit. And you know he fucking loves Olive Garden and the meat sauce.
In the meat sauce. I'm thinking maybe he's old school, so he's already scared of pile drivers, and he was wondering in mid-move, was he actually going to kill someone?
Yeah, does this work? Am I going to die? Is he going to die? Who's going to die?
Dude, when your fucking signature move for your whole career is taking an apron bump, you kind of sometimes it's hard to do other moves.
Yeah, but it's not even really an apron bump. He would just kind of lay back when somebody would kind of push a fist out at him over the rope. I mean, is that really an apron bump?
Jesus Christ, let's expose the fucking business all day. But,
sorry, I mean, I'm saying.
I was there when Virgil took on Ted DiBiase at WrestleMania 7, and that match was fucking dog shit, but man, it had so much heat.
Okay, look. And this is where I like Virgil, because I always did like the amount of heat he could bring to a situation with his mere presence alone. And it wasn't X-Pac heat, it was real heat. Somehow he got real heat. I'll give him that.
Hashtag fuck money.
All right, so listen, to sum up my hatred of the fact that we have not been to the temple in over a year, I'm going to personally hold EV Dub responsible because I don't know who else to hold responsible, and maybe he'll come back on the show at some point in time and explain himself and maybe explain to us why, as a representative of MGM, we have not seen this product live for a taping in over a year.
You know what?
Because I don't know who else is going to explain it at this point. Somebody has to explain it to me, though.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I would like to see someone explain it, not just to us, but to all the talent that's wondering what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to see.
That's the thing. That's kind of a. It's
well, I mean, I've heard the explanation some of them have got, but I will keep that to myself.
And
no, I do not need any ooh la la. I need ooh la la like I need a fucking elephant elbow enema. I don't need a fucking ooh la la meef. That's what I think about that.
Wow.
Sorry.
10 thumbs up so far. Man.
So angry. So angry.
Casey, did you know?
I'm mad today. I'm angry today. I'm sorry. It's just gonna be that way.
Did you like how Justin cut me off talking about Virgil before I could talk about how enormous Virgil's penis is?
Oh,
that's fine. Hey, look, there's got to be a reason for him to get heat, man. White man envy is definitely a solid way to get heat.
I thought we actually got through the Virgil thing for the first time without you bringing that up. But
no, because that's actually what fucked up the Canadian Destroyer. It created too much drag.
so you're saying the drag from the rig slowed down the Canadian Destroyer?
Yeah. It's he's lucky he didn't just spin like a fucking top.
So what does that say about all the guys who could do a good Canadian Destroyer?
Petey Williams has a micro penis.
Dude, everyone does Canadian Destroyers.
Petey Williams micro penis, love it. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Drago, TNA Slammiversary.
Yeah.
Weird, not weird. Does it matter? Lucha Underground ain't using him right now, so to me, I guess it's not weird.
I think
He's AAA weird. Talent right now.
I think
that people are putting so much into it when they're just gonna probably job these guys.
I think it's weird, but also it's just these guys are getting work and they get another bit of TV money, so go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think with the style of what they do, they'll just be a special attraction. It would be worse if you had some of the English-speaking regular talent from Lucha Underground that also works for AAA showing up there. Like if Mundo or Cross or Taya showed up there at TNA, that would be problematic to me. But some of the luchadors, and since those guys are more associated with AAA in the first place, I'm not really mad at the Drago thing, and I think it's fine. And I don't think anybody over at Lucha Underground is going to be like, yeah, Drago shouldn't be making his money or getting some TV time when he can get it. I don't think it's going to hurt Lucha Underground whereas some of the English-speaking talent, that really would hurt them if they did that.
You know how like we were worried about some guys coming back to Lucha Underground and we were told that their contracts are with MGM.
Yes.
And not AAA. Well, you'd think these guys would have contracts with MGM that would prevent them from being on this show, even though they're AAA guys.
Yeah, but their contracts, I believe, were always different because they were additionally loan out talent from AAA. I don't know though, because that was the same deal with Pentagon. But when we're told Pentagon and Phoenix are not that anymore, and they have standalone MGM contracts that have nothing to do with
like they're showing up, and they're not the ones going to TNA.
Well, Primo is using his AAA gimmick.
Right. So it's Drago AAA showing up at TNA, not Drago Lucha Underground.
You don't have Lucha Underground stories on TNA TV. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, but you also don't have Lucha Underground stories on AAA TV either.
Yeah, because they're different TV shows. So I think it's still kind of weird. I think if Lucha Underground
so would it be weird? Would it be weird to you if Cross showed up on TNA because he's purely a AAA character right now? He's under a Lucha Underground contract, but he hasn't appeared on Lucha Underground that we know of, other than being a bunny.
I gotta mention something about the deal that I think doesn't smell right, and I don't know if you guys I don't think a lot of people think about it. They said that this talent thing happened because Dorian struck up a deal with TNA. So there's this talent exchange thing, and then TNA is going to get on the air in Mexico. Dorian's going to help them out. You know what fucking show isn't on TV in Mexico, Justin?
Lucha Underground?
Yep.
Oh, they lost it after season 1.
Well, fucking, no, that wasn't even a Mexico thing. That was just on Spanish-speaking stations in the United States.
That's
and
Mexico could get through satellite providers, I believe, but
yeah, if you lived like close. But yeah, the fucking so there's like a legit conflict of interest there that I don't think enough people are thinking about, and it's just weird. It smells weird to me. I don't know. Like, you know how this hiatus thing made me like a little more doom and gloom than I used to be anyway, as far as the future of things. So I might just be reading way too much into it. I don't know.
I think the hiatus is really leaving a door open for these types of odd situations because they want to keep their guys working and they want to make deals to spread the brand. But if Lucha was taping more often, then you just wouldn't be able to say, hey, put Drago on Slammiversary.
Right.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, Daniel Price, who says he hasn't seen AAA in years. You're still not going to see Triple Mania this year because it's up against Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. So pretty much
also, Daniel Price, when you watched it, it was fucking dope, and it totally doesn't touch that era that you mentioned in the chat. But
no, but they do still have good shows, but it's like every fourth or fifth show they'll fucking kill it, they'll slay it, and then the very next week they don't follow up on any of it. The booking gets completely changed, and then you've got nada for another like 3 or 4 tapings.
So you guys
like
know,
I just don't even understand it.
You guys know I like the weirder shit about wrestling, and back then was when AAA was fucking weird, man. Like you had fucking Macias getting thrown in a volcano and killed and coming back from the dead, and that's how he became Macias.
Super solid.
Wow.
Poor guy. Always dying.
The worst special effects I've ever seen in my life. And they basically filmed his coffin floating in the ocean and then tried to tint it red so it looked like lava. Good times.
Is he ever going to stop dying? Like, is it just his job to die every couple of 3 weeks?
They kind of killed him a couple times in WSX, too. Kind of.
Vampiro did.
Yeah. He tombstoned him onto an exploding coffin at the end of their finale episode.
That's on YouTube now, too. I watched that one not even that long ago.
Oh, shit, man. I got all that stuff. The DVD set's hard to find now, but it's fucking dope because there's like full in-depth, like fucking behind-the-scenes commentary on every episode, and it's all like so good, like the stuff that they say. They really, really get into the nitty-gritty of doing the show. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know that AAA is ever going to do U.S. shows like what New Japan's doing. I don't think that they're... It
sucks because they did. They did for a while, and they didn't do well. And,
I mean, Lucha Underground is basically that. I mean, that was kind of their fix for that. That was one of the reasons why Dorian especially was so behind it in the first place. Was to try to get some of that talent into the U.S. And it worked. I mean, look, you got us sitting here on an American podcast talking about Drago. Yeah. You know, would that have happened without Lucha Underground? Probably not.
Well, shit. If you would have put me on the podcast, I'd still be fucking talking about Drago. Come on.
Sure, but it would have been a WWE podcast where you were talking about Drago.
Yeah, I'd be like, you guys should watch this dragon dude that used to be a fucking cat.
We'd be talking about Callisto, who wishes he was Drago.
Dude, you should see this dragon guy that was a cat before he was a cat. He was like a heartthrob, and before he was a heartthrob, he was a Michael Jackson impersonator.
These are all good gimmicks.
His name was Billie Jean, and he was a Michael Jackson impersonator. And
super solid.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to the song Billie Jean, that makes no sense whatsoever. But you know, hey.
All right. Well, we've bullshitted enough about Lucha Underground. Let's actually talk about this freaking episode. You start off with very interesting. Well, we're in the recap phase of Lucha Underground now, which I know you hate, Casey.
I fucking hate it.
But I mean, dude, how long ago was the story of Jeremiah and Katrina revealed to us? Did anyone?
You know what?
Like, I needed that.
Wait, I don't care, but I gotta bitch a little bit because we went through the whole first season where the Dragon Azteca story started in the first episode, didn't get picked up until like maybe the last 3 episodes of the season.
Yeah.
As far as the connection with Prince Puma, and we didn't have any recaps, and you just had to pay the fuck attention. I feel like these recaps and I feel like all this hype shit for the Mundo and Ray match, while really well done, robs the show of its cinematic fucking structure that made it stand out. And now it's starting to look like just another wrestling show. And I fucking hate to say
I
that.
love the fight recap thing, the Ray Johnny Michael Chavello voiced thing. That's been one of my favorite things.
I don't think it feels right for a fucking underground fight promotion to have something like that.
Yeah, I like that vibe. It's well done, but it's going off brand.
I know, but it reminds me exactly of what Bellator did this past weekend of like they're branching out, we're booking Madison Square Garden, we're doing one huge event, we're putting everything behind it, we're going for broke. It feels like, if Dario was going to finally have this Ray Johnny match and just, dollar signs were in his eyes, that he would go over the top. He hires the big famous announcer. He does these fight packages,
and still does the show in the same sweaty shithole in Boyle Heights.
Well, there's always that. That shithole may not be as shitty this coming year if they do more episodes, though. I have a feeling it's going to be quite a bit different.
Yeah, how about putting in some fucking bathrooms? There we go.
Nah, I like the porta potties outside. They're comfortable. They're warm.
Well, if they're going to keep the taco truck, they need to add more bathrooms. If you know what I mean.
Okay, so the first segment, Katrina, just, nothing really special there, but always nice to have Katrina on TV. Always nice for Mill to get TV time, and I liked that, Mill was one of the main focuses of the segments on this episode. He deserves it. It's fucking over.
Dude, he was so badass.
And he got to do like real cinematic lip locking with Katrina too, not that little half a thing that they do out in front of the audience.
What?
It looked like they had to do that take like 3 or 4
three times. He fucking went out at like an Eric Roberts movie, and
yeah. I think Ricky was feeling himself a little bit backstage, if you know what I'm saying.
What are you guys talking about? I have to watch this now.
Yeah.
What's happening?
He slipped her a little bit of tongue and a little kiss. Like, Katrina's trying to make sure that Mill feels like he's being loved. So she's giving him a little, backstage, pep rally. And
it worked.
And it worked. I mean, and this is, of course, right after we see the recap about the Jeremiah thing. So we know that there's something going on there. So it feels like she's trying to reassure Mill that he's the man, even though I'm guessing he's not. I think Katrina might be playing a lot of these gentlemen, and rightfully so, because she's hot enough to be able to do that, in my opinion.
She can do whatever she wants, as far as I'm concerned.
Then they're gonna say, "Who are you really in love with?" I'm in love with the limo guy that you'll never see.
No, she's gonna say T.J. Miller, and she's gonna mean Byron, but she's gonna say T.J. Miller.
We know who she means.
T.J. Miller, who wears a Batman sweater to a Marvel convention.
So what?
Nothing.
Comics. You don't know what you're talking about.
Shit.
Anyway,
I do gotta say that if that were to happen, that would be a very interesting best man speech that I would have to make at that wedding for you, Byron.
It's going to happen, starting now.
Oh dear Lord. Anyway, so Veneno, Ricky Reyes in a spider mask.
Venom. It's Venom in Spanish. And there, first thing I would do if I was creating a new character is I'd make sure it wasn't already the name of a well-known luchador, but here we are.
Well, yes. And we know in the storyline who this is, but of course the audience doesn't know who this is. And I did not know who this was live, except for the moveset was pretty much a dead giveaway.
And the fact that his tattoo is fucking on the back of his arm and visible. Yeah, they should have him wear like an arm strap, like the Minotaur in WCW. Like 3 people will get that reference.
But maybe that's the joke. Maybe he's just a really, really bad undercover cop. I mean,
I think that is the point, that he's just really shitty at hiding out.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the temple already knows it, and then for his trouble, Dario just for a lark books him against Mill and just watches him get squashed. And what was that? Like 25 seconds? Like, did he get a move in?
No, he didn't get a move in, but Mill got like 50 moves in, and it was awesome. And he just murdered him in seconds. And it's like, so he's going to be nice and fresh for the next round of the tournament.
And I love this. Like, and I complain about this with every single wrestling promotion out there. They all need more squashes. I grew up on squash matches. Like, dudes get over crushing the shit out of no-names, and workers are trying to come up. This is the way it should go. Like, maybe Ricky Reyes isn't exactly a worker coming up, but in his storyline and in his gimmick right now of trying to be undercover as, you know, Luchador Venom or whatever, it makes perfect sense. It's a great booking. Just, I want more of these. Book me 5 more squashes, please. Like, why not? I want to see them on Raw. I want to see them on TNA. I want to see them everywhere. Like, every show needs more squashes.
I found this YouTube account. Byron, you saw some of it too. Justin, I don't know if you were in the DM when I found it, but this YouTube account called Monsoon Classic.
I didn't see it.
He's got like over 1,000 matches, and most of them are like old squash matches. And he categorizes them by like what show they're on and stuff like that. But he also has a section called Sid Vicious Rules the World, and I just really want to point that out. That's all Sid squash matches and promos, but it made me really, really appreciate how awesome squash matches used to be. Because we used to sit fucking Saturday morning and Sunday morning watching squash matches for an hour at a time just to see fucking a 2-minute match with Tugboat and Earthquake at the end.
Yeah. Exactly. All squash matches and then a quick match between 2 superstars.
Which was probably a schmozz or a fucking count out or something, you know?
But it was fun, and like Razor Ramon comes out, does a squash match. You get to see his moves, but you also get to see how cool he is. They get to kind of showcase their personality without having to have.
Yeah, and then guess what? When there's a pay-per-view with an actual blow-off match where 2 people really go at it and lay it down for 25 minutes, it's like the greatest thing in the world again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard with Lucha Underground since they don't have pay-per-views, but they do clearly build Ultima Lucha. And they can clearly build to other shows. Even then, give me 2 squash matches and then a good main event. I mean, which was kind of what happened on this show a little bit, and I like that about it. That was one of the better things about this episode, though this episode was not as good as the 2 previous weeks. But I'm getting there. So, I would have rather have seen Vinny versus Mil Muertes. Like, I think that would have been fucking dope. As much as I like Vinny's match last week. Yeah, but Vinny's not going to get in the actual offense against Mill, is he? Well, I mean, like he got off on Cage. That was dope. Yeah, that's true. It was a lot more competitive.
Yeah, which I thought was really good. I don't know if it worked for Cage's gauntlet storyline all that good, but I mean, the end of it paid. He wasn't allowed to wear the gauntlet, so it gives him a reason.
But I think it did because Vinny's offense looked unique, but it also looked strong. He hit that awesome STO. He hit the forearm, the snoring elbow, and he hit it stiff, and he hit it in a way that looked like it should hurt Cage. And I think the little bit of offense that Vinny got, it made Cage look tough by the way that he was sort of no-selling it.
I got to give props. Mr. Krabs wants to see Mil Muertes versus Vibora, which I say, why?
I'll tell you why. Because if you see it now in season 4, there's going to be a spectacular flip bump at the end. If you saw it in the middle of season 3, however, you probably would have been very, very disappointed. And we'll get to that. But a shout out to Zeus King, who says his first event ever was a double TV taping of NWA wrestling in 1985, and that is super fucking solid.
Yeah, dude, you're fucking old.
Vinny, Vinny's in the chat room. Vinny, you really did go stiff, man. Did you guys have like a gentleman's agreement between you and Cage to just kind of let loose in that thing, or what? Because there were some stiff ass fucking shots in the Massaro versus Cage match.
See, that was dope, and as much as another person calls himself a strong style competitor, he didn't even get one hit against Mil Muertes.
No, Vinny was really throwing out the real strong style, which was awesome. We need more of that. We need more of that on LU. I like.
You know what else we need more of?
What's that? Katrina because this match was too short, and that was the worst thing about a squash match with Mil Muertes is that there's not enough Katrina in it.
Well, she showed up a couple more times this episode.
Yes.
Oh shit! I was trying to segue into the match that I'm angry about, like that I was actually physically mad at the temple.
Well, you're not. Well, we're going into Paul London and Vibora though. That's the one
next.
you're mad about.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Was Joey
rough.
and Taya first though?
No, Joey and Taya was after that.
Vinny,
Okay,
by the way,
okay,
answered
so,
your question and said that he's still. Yeah.
They didn't show us when that happened. Basically, what we're talking about is Paul London did the reverse tope dive that Aerostar does, where you're completely putting your life in your opponent's hands, and Vibora didn't even get close to fucking catching him, and London's head and neck hit a fucking chair at ringside, which was a lot louder in person than it was on the show.
Yeah, like what was it? Did his knee buckle or something? He just did not get there at all. Like he didn't get there.
He looked like he was a few feet to the side, but you know what? It might. I've been thinking about this a lot because this really bothered me when it happened, and because.
Oh, we were hot. We were hot. Like I've said it before. I've said it in stuff that I know Mr. Madelson has listened to also, and I hope he doesn't like kill me in real life. But after that match, we were not fans. Not even close. We were fucking hot, like super duper hot on Big Snake.
No, and like
jumped out
people
of
are
his
chanting,
seat.
"Holy shit!" Me, you, and Byron just fucking look at each other. We're not chanting anything, and then we look over at Vampiro and just see him fucking shaking his head at the commentary table.
I mean, and that maybe is what did it. Like, I saw the reaction on Vamp's face, and then I was like, oh, yeah, he blew that real bad. Like, go back to Big Brother. I was mad.
Because we couldn't tell how bad Paul hit. We just heard that it was a bad sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it looked like he landed right on his fucking head, which when you watch the show, yeah. And it's like, shit, man, that's the same dive Aerostar does, and he's supposed to be fucking feuding with this guy. And it's like, I know Steve Payne is like a pretty high bar to put for a base in Lucha Underground.
Best
But
base
fuck,
around.
man, if you're a big giant motherfucker, you're there to be a base, and it's like you got to be there to catch. But it might not have been his fault because that mask that he's wrestling in now
It's better, isn't
is
it?
a lot better. It's better than the mask that he's wrestling in Lucha Underground, and it probably cuts down his peripheral vision, and it may block out one of his eyes so that he's not judging distance well enough.
Well, I mean, he's got crazy, like, flippy shit bump finishers and stuff now. Like, he is not the same guy now that he was then at all. And I am willing to...
He's also using a mask that is much more conducive to a wrestling environment than the one he's wearing now that sticks way too far out from his face to get good enough vision on it, you know?
Well, I mean, come on. Steve Payne is a freaking phenomenal wrestler, and he spends, 15 minutes a match just zipping that thing back up.
Yeah.
So basically, we're saying the wardrobe department over at MGM is what's failing us here. That's what we're saying.
Well, see, they're doing dope designs, and the characters look great. And Vibora's mask is fucking awesome, but
but maybe at the cost of him being able to see where the heck he's supposed to be standing.
I think the talent should make that point, though. Like Jericho has a story about how when he was doing a Jushin Thunder Liger gimmick,
Super Liger.
He was going to be Super Liger, and didn't he like throw it away because he couldn't wrestle in the mask?
Yeah,
like,
he said the match was complete dog shit because he couldn't see right.
Yeah, like the rest.
That's what I was thinking.
And some guys get used to it and some don't, and maybe that's the other part of it. Maybe Madison's just getting more used to being under the mask now. I mean, this is not exactly a guy that coming up would have ever thought he was going to be a masked luchador at any point in his career. I mean, that certainly has to have taken him a little off kilter, considering he's a Vince guy. I mean, he's this big, giant, muscular dude. He's fairly athletic. He's a decent looking guy. I mean, he's normally he's the Vince mold. He's the gender mold or whatever. And to see him under a mask, which is why it's genius, is phenomenal. It's a great idea, but at the same time, I gather, especially in those early matches that we saw, and this match actually, I believe, wasn't this taped before the one that just aired?
Yeah, because the tag title shit was all out of order.
Yeah, so I feel like this was his second match ever in the Temple, and he was still really green to doing the whole thing. And I remember just us being just fucking hot and like, F that guy, screw off, go to hell. I was mad that Cobra Moon was with him. But also, I got to say, now I'm watching the whole thing play out on TV. And I was mad that Cobra Moon wasn't wrestling either and that they put her in this valet spot. I was super fucking pissed about that back then.
Oh, but now, she was so good.
I'm digging it.
Yeah. The carrot thing was fucking hilarious. And I'm surprised they left the Save the Carrot chant in, actually.
And her shouting at her entourage in English and Spanish and whatnot, it totally works. Like, she's got her full on Crockett going. Like, she's got her whole thing down. And I mean, I'm not mad at it, but I was mad at it at the time. But again, this is where like the TV production and seeing it in order and seeing the vignettes all makes it make sense. You know what I mean? It does make it better sometimes, because those are the things where just as a live wrestling fan going to the temple and watching them, I was totally hating on those things. Now I'm a huge fan of them. And I'm a huge fan of Vibora now too, even though this was not the moment for him. I would love to say that this was good. This was not a good match. This was not a good look by any stretch of the imagination.
And it was worse live than it was on TV.
Yeah, it was even worse live. Like,
I don't know though. We were angry though. We would probably have shit on the match even if it was like all right until that dive. Like, you know, like because that kind of thing always bothers me in lucha, and because like it's a major part of being a successful luchadors, being able to catch your fucking opponent.
Yeah.
Yes, we should have Austin Madelson on. We should bring him on. Except we're going to have to spend 10 minutes apologizing to him for the 5 or 6 times we shit on him super hard on this show.
Yeah,
but we've also praised him a few times too. So, and I mean, look, we just keep it real on this show.
Yeah, somebody dude's been putting his work in, man. He's getting good. He's really been putting work in. And he has a mask that he can fucking see out of when he wrestles too.
And look, we're those guys. Like, we're not real shills. We're not getting paid to do this show. We do this show because we like it. We like the product. And at the same time, part of what we like to do, we like to shit on stuff that we don't like. And I'll tell you what, we know a lot of the talent now. We know a lot of the producers and the writers and whatnot. But it's not going to stop us from shitting on things that we don't like. If we don't like it, we don't care who does it. My best friend could do it, and I will shit all over them if it's trash. So, yes, we've shit on Madelson before. Yes, we've also praised him before. I like where the gimmick's going now. I can say that. I'm happy to say that. But we've shit on him pretty hard a couple times, and I can't lie. So I don't know if he would even come on the show. We'd have to ask him to find out.
Yeah, the guy probably thinks I'm like the biggest fucking asshole out of the three of us because I laid it on pretty thick. But I'm a little bit passionate about my lucha libre, dude. That's the only reason.
I think to be fair, though, I mean, we mainly talked about what we saw him do in the temple, in the ring during those tapings. And it wasn't good, and it was dangerous, like what we're talking about tonight. But then when he came on TV, we got to see some positive aspects, like his presentation. The character comes across really well on camera.
Well, he was also better towards the end of the season. You know, like when J-Man and Urban and those guys showed up, we were all like, "Oh, wait till you see Big Snake. He's going to be horrible." And then he wasn't. And they're all looking at us like, "You guys are fucking high. This dude's fine."
And you know, a lot better.
He's not the worst guy. He's not the worst person in the company because they've never had to retape his matches because they were too bad to air.
That's true.
Okay, Sexy Star? Okay.
All right.
Man, talk about flames.
We almost won a show without ripping on Sexy Star.
No, we did last week. I don't think we mentioned Sexy Star once last week, did we?
Oh, I don't remember.
It was like the first time in months. All right, so but big props to Thunder Rosa, aka Cobra Moon, for really stepping it up a notch in this valet role and making the storyline work, even though it was shot completely out of order, which takes even more talent to be able to sell the storyline without doing it in a linear fashion, which I don't know, TV or no TV, if any wrestlers really had to be as out of order character motivation wise as her or Drago in season 3. Like, kudos to both of them for figuring out how to make this out of order shot, crazy ass storyline, which is a pretty intricate storyline, actually work. So big props to her. And, you know, sorry, Austin, this wasn't your week, but, you know, when you do some good shit, we'll be the first to say it.
Dope. He's probably gonna look dope pretty soon because the Snake Tribe's big scene hasn't fucking aired yet because we have not seen the whole thing with Daga and the sword fighting and shit.
Oh yeah.
That was in the trailers still. And
I think they've got some heavy backstage action still to come, and I think Austin's probably a big part of all of that. So then the next match was Taya versus Joey. I love this for many, many reasons, especially in light of all the garbage WWE has been doing with their women's divisions in the past few weeks. Of like, this is once again exactly why women should be wrestling guys. Joey wrestles a lot of women because of his weird sexist gimmicks that he does from time to time, but he actually takes very good care of them in the ring and knows how to make them look good and knows how to get himself over in those matches. Even with a certain amount of inappropriateness, which I'm sure would have some of the traditionalists rolling over in their graves. But, Taya got an ass slap in the middle of this match, which I'm sure some of the old school heads would take issue with, but it worked. The spot worked. It's no worse than getting chopped.
And plus she got to use chest hair pulling as a fucking transition in the match. And Byron, as the most Miguelito Perez-like person on this podcast, tell the listeners how much this would hurt to have someone pull you around by your chest hair.
I didn't see the match.
He's calling you a furry. Does it hurt when your bears pull your chest hair?
That's not what a furry is. Justin, you know what a furry is. I remember the conversation we had about that.
I have no idea what a furry is, so I could completely be using that terminology incorrectly. But I do know that the bears like to pull your chest hairs, Byron.
If you want to see Justin's on-screen cameo debut that wasn't involving horrible dying, watch any sort of furry documentary on YouTube.
No, dude, it's I heard that he made the same expression and acted like his eyes were burning for some reason. I just something else caused it.
I don't use the internet for evil. I only use it for good.
Hey guys, I can't get a Travelodge hotel room in Long Beach this weekend.
So what are you doing?
Wow,
you crashing on my floor?
Do you not have your place in fucking North Hollywood, fake North Hollywood, Toluca Lake?
I do, but what's the drive?
It's like
on
an
the
hour,
weekend.
right?
It's not that bad.
I should just not get a hotel room, huh?
Since you live in Los Angeles and you're going to Long Beach, maybe not. It's like a 45-minute drive, 50 minutes. Who gives a shit? It takes that long to drive to Lucha Underground.
Damn, you guys live so much closer to everything than I do. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, well, your weather's nicer out there. Anyway, the Taya thing, like, this is just once again, like, it brought me back to, oh shit, yeah, I really love Taya. Taya's freaking awesome. She can go toe-to-toe with especially any of the mid-sized men. Well, shit, she went toe-to-toe with Cage in that one match. I mean, but this was a great example of why intergender wrestling is good, because it mattered almost zero that she was in there against a guy, and in fact, it probably made it better. Certainly better than Taya versus Sexy Star would have been. So, the girls that can go, and with a good wrestler, doesn't matter if the wrestler across from them is a man or a woman. If they know what they're doing and they can base the right way for them, it's going to be a good match. I don't understand why WWE doesn't see this and why we're still stuck with the stigma of gender wrestling across so much of it. It's like, dude, it's a fantasy. The whole thing is a fantasy world. Why is there not more intergender wrestling? You watch a comic book movie, Wonder Woman beats up on men through the whole movie and a couple of ladies. She's fucking Wonder Woman. Like, if we're going to give these women superpowers and say they're badasses, it's like, in real life, is Samoa Joe putting a sleeper hold of any kind on Brock Lesnar? Fuck no. But it's a fucking fantasy. We built the character to make sense that happens, and then when you watch it, it's credible. But in real life, it would never happen. But maybe in real life, Alexa Bliss can beat up Tyler Bate or something. Who knows?
Hey,
that would be awesome.
We should just, you know, it's the Mortal Kombat philosophy, the fucking Street Fighter philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, Chun-Li could fuck up Zangief sometimes if the person playing sucks because Zangief's the shit and the best fighter in the fucking game.
You just love that spinning pile driver. You like it when people get dumped on their heads. That's why you're a Kevin Cross fan, right? You just like to see people get dumped on their heads.
I do, but I also like to see people get like kicked in the face.
Okay, I'm with that too.
Yeah, Cross does that really well too.
Yeah, he's adding more of that into his whole thing.
I like how Kevin Cross, his social media presence is basically, he always seems amped and on the verge of cracking. And
yeah, but so here's my theory about that. And I was hoping maybe he would come on tonight and talk about it, but I think he's on a plane. You know, I was watching the whole CM Punk thing because it's a 6-year anniversary from that infamous promo where he sat down after Cena went through the table or whatever and just shot like crazy and went into business for himself. Kevin has literally been in business for himself since the start of his career.
Yeah.
Like, and he's past the point of getting reined in now. And I don't know, like, it's just a different mentality. Like, he's grown up in an age where you see these guys shoot and go into business for yourself. And he's been in a position where he's basically had to do that for himself, whether it's FSW or AAA or whatever he's doing. Like, he doesn't have anyone really promoting him. Like, maybe if he had Vince paying him millions, he would shut the fuck up. But he doesn't. He doesn't have anybody shuffling money into his pocket. Right. So there's no reason for the guy not to permanently go into business for himself. And honestly, I can't figure out why more wrestlers don't do that.
Right. It's not a fucking team sport.
Not at all. Like, he is literally in business for himself. Like, the saying directly applies to his situation in life. Like, he's got to protect his own ass. He doesn't have somebody shoveling a bunch of money in his pocket. He's got to get a little bit from AAA and a little bit from the indies and try to get a little bit from Lucha Underground that hasn't fucking used them on TV because they haven't filmed in over a year. Like, he's got to just go into business for himself. So what has he done? He's taken the aspects of his life where he's snapped for real, because if you listen to some of his shit, like, some of it's pretty out there. Like, he's got some conspiracy theories and he's got some, maybe I would almost say he's libertarian politically. Like, and honestly, I don't even know where he falls on that spectrum, but clearly he has some other viewpoints from the majorities out there and is not afraid to express them if you ask. And he is a little freaking cracked. But why don't you see more from other guys like this? Like, where the fuck is AR Fox? I bet that dude's freaking psycho too. Come on, this is a guy who, like, will jump on a tack, like a bed of tacks, and if the tacks don't stick to his skin the right way, he will do another bump on them on purpose. Like, he will set up another bump because there are not enough tacks, and that's what the audience paid for. Clearly, he's insane. Clearly.
I fucking love
Cross
that guy.
Likes to, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this guy do any bag work. He puts giant dents in heavy bags, like Tyson used to do when he was practicing his uppercuts. Like, clearly he likes to do real MMA kickboxing type stuff and wants to hurt people. Luckily, he hasn't hurt anybody too important yet, because that might not be too good for his career, but he's a little out there. There's something a little off with the guy. Not necessarily a bad thing. He uses it to his advantage. Can't figure out why a guy like AR Fox doesn't. Like, how over would he be on social media if he did some of the same stuff that Cross does?
Yeah.
Am I nuts?
Hey, there's one thing that we're going to be talking about later. How you don't need two of the same thing, Justin.
Oh, we're getting there. We got to get there faster. Because, all right, so.
I have to praise Joey Ryan for something.
Yeah, go for it. Because this is the time. So we're moving on.
All right, I just saw it on Twitter, and this fan said, hey, I was at a show, and I accidentally dropped $50 on the gimmick table, and Joey Ryan told me, hey, man, you dropped your money. And the guy said kudos to him on Twitter, and he's like, dude, you spent money on my merch. I don't have to steal more money from you. Thanks for your support. That's a good dude right there. That's not like a fucking Rock and Roll Express carny motherfucker.
Well, and he lives in Reseda too, which means he should be a carny motherfucker.
Wait, hold on. I know the PWG thing, but Joey Ryan lives in Reseda and is an Angels fan?
There's a lot of Angels fans up here.
I don't understand that. I mean, I could see
I hate them because I'm in the Valley and they're in the same division as the Indians. But
I mean, I could see if like he would go down to Anaheim for a good hockey game.
I don't know if he really lives in Reseda, but I think he actually does live up here in the Valley somewhere.
Probably.
He's around here all the time.
Yeah.
So who knows if that's kayfabe or not? All right. So go ahead.
You guys hear about Pentagon getting mugged at gunpoint?
Yeah,
no.
That's very, very unfortunate, man.
Yeah, he got mugged. He missed the booking because of it.
So basically, he was in an Uber driving to the airport for his booking, and a bunch of dudes on motorcycles with guns fucking surrounded the car and robbed him. And he, could I at least keep the backpack that's got my wrestling gear, my passport and shit? And they're like, fuck no.
Wow.
And
who the fuck robs a skeleton ninja? That's some bold shit.
And that's how you can tell, like, fucking Pentagon's balls are real, because you got these fucking guys at gunpoint, and you're asking, could I just keep this bag?
Well, dude,
Those
getting
balls
another
are real.
passport in Mexico is difficult.
Yeah. And
Especially
it
like
sucks
getting all
'cause
your work visa approved and everything and printed out again. That's hard.
him and Phoenix both missed the show because of it.
Was Phoenix with him?
Yeah. Well, not when he got robbed. They were supposed to be on the same show. I don't know if they were in the same car or not. But I do know that they both missed the show because of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it fucking sucks, man. Hopefully everything's replaceable and he gets back on his feet.
What if Phoenix is one of the guys on a motorcycle? It was an inside job, and that's why they both missed the booking.
Remind me never to let you book my wrestling show.
Yeah.
I'm just
If I ever have one.
Byron, the truth or Turk over here.
All right, so the next little segment was I'm moving on with the Lucha Underground. I'm doing it, Byron. I'm doing it.
I don't even know what happened.
Was this I'm looking at the mill in the mirror?
Oh yeah.
We all know it.
Mil Muertes looking in the mirror, and then Jeremiah Crane, crazy man, bad hairline, comes in. Busts Mill up with a chair, and this is, you're going to want to see this segment, Byron, because storyline wise it doesn't amount to much, but it was nice. I mean, they did backstage chair spots where, you know, Jeremiah puts a chair over the throat of Mil Muertes and then smashes another chair into it, kind of thing. But they did it all backstage, locker room. Fucking Jeremiah takes out Mil Muertes, something that we did not know when we saw Jeremiah out front, that he had like this
Justin.
angle going
He's
on.
the man of 1,000 deaths. He's going to need to do that at least 997 more times, because we've already seen him die like twice.
Well, but it looks like in this particular moment from the blurry vision and whatnot that Jeremiah actually killed Mil Muertes, right? Katrina's going to have to breathe life back into him again?
Maybe.
And is this depleting her powers? Like, is she all of a sudden going to be old and wrinkly and not hot because she's depleting her powers, reviving Mil too many times? Just saying. It could be a thing. It could happen.
Oh, and then she comes over and sits on your lap, and it's like fucking B. Arthur is in the Katrina outfit and shit.
Oh, that's my nightmare. Like, Katrina finally gives me the time of day, and then she's B. Arthur. Oh.
Fucking B. Arthur comes over and licks your face and shit.
The
dust lick of death. Oh.
Dude, I like this idea so much that they can have this one for free. But B. Arthur's dead, so they have to bring her back to life first.
Been done before.
Casey Meatloaf is leaving, and he says he likes The Undertaker.
Okay, that's good. I won't wish you death in our time apart. Have fun at work,
Meatloaf,
buddy.
if you want to get back on the show, we'll have you back on the show, but you have to tell us your 3 favorite Undertaker moments, and they have to match up with at least 3 of Casey's top 10.
No, he has to draw, and I don't mean Photoshop bullshit. He has to get some crayons, and he has to draw a really cool picture of The Undertaker with the crayons, and I want the gray gloves, not the purple gloves, and I want Paul Bearer with him. And then it has to say, "I'm sorry, Casey." And then he's got to have like the Undertaker symbol with a heart around it. With crayons, not colored pencils. Fucking crayons. And Crayola, not that rose art bullshit.
He's probably not hearing any of this, but I agree with Casey. I like this plan. That'll get you back on me. That'll get you back in good graces with the MMM show. That, and you have to tear up everything you ever got from Phantasma or Cuerno.
Also, when you draw the Undertaker, massive dick bulge. Paul Bear, medium size.
Meatloaf says deal to something here. So good. We'll move on. Thank you, Meat. We'll look forward to seeing that, at least that illustration. You don't actually have to tear up your Phantasma stuff. I'm only slightly working you, even though I truly hate him. So moving on. The big Kibosh fight package. We talked about it a little bit earlier. This week, what you got, the new addition to it was commentary from a bunch of the other fighters. You had out of character, but they're talking about like it's a fight. They're talking about like they're on fight teams. I kind of like
No, but it's like, I'm Cage and I'm nice, but Johnny Mundo likes to tweet. Look, he likes to cheat in matches, and I'm not even wearing my fucking glove, guys. Woo! Check out my moose knuckle.
Take it you didn't like it. Chavo, I thought Chavo had some decent real analysis, as well as Stryker.
Yeah, Chavo, the guy that's not even supposed to be in the fucking temple anymore.
Byron, you would love this. This is the most Trevor has talked on any television program ever, anywhere.
How much did he cry?
Puma talked at great length in his slightly high-pitched voice about the match between Johnny and Ray all day long. Also was kind of fucked up his tweener status, though, and saying that Ray clearly was going to win. Which I guess you're right. That does kind of take away for a little bit from the storyline kayfabe going on right now. But I like Stryker in there too. Like Stryker's proving that shit. Maybe he could probably do some MMA commentary if he wanted to. If he like learned some MMA stuff and knew what Mission Control was and shit like that. I like the hype package. I thought it was cool.
I should watch that.
I don't know, Justin. It's making me feel like they're changing the identity of the show. If that's what they're going for, then by all means. But I don't know.
There is something cool about the show. I mean, I do miss some things because there's no replay, but I also dig that about the show. You know, it makes it different. So,
yeah, I don't like the instant replay, but I mean, for WWE, I do like it though, because then you can have it on in the background. Pay no attention, and as soon as a screen comes up, you know it's time to look up and see the like two things in the match that actually matter.
But
I don't like the instant replay because I'm an asshole, and I think that if people want to see something again, they should have to pay for it on iTunes. There you go, Lucha Underground. I just put some money in your pocket.
Well, but I think if you're going to have a 1 hour blitz of a show, you want people paying attention to every moment of it. So to your point, I do the same thing if I have Raw or SmackDown on. I wait until they freak out and they show a replay, and then I'll pay attention to it the second time.
And it just kind of cues you in of when you have to pay attention, and they kind of have to do that. But that's also them talking down to their fans. And yes, Andre, I do kind of agree with you in the chat room that maybe it did do his tweener character okay, just because he reluctantly had to say that he thought Ray, would win. But at the same time, it was just weird to hear Puma talk that much.
Yeah,
like this is the most he's ever talked. Literally, it's double the word count of his longest promo in Lucha Underground to date.
It's more than he said all of season 1 combined.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had what 2 lines in all of season 1, like and no, Conan.
Yeah,
he would do this.
Conan, it's me, Poppy.
He would do this, and then he'd do a flippy thing.
That was his line, like
just opposed to his lines post season 3, which are
yeah, pretty much. I'm guessing that they filmed these fight packages a long fucking time ago, or else he wouldn't even be in them.
Yeah. I think it makes sense though that he lost to Ray on a big stage, so I think he would make sense in saying.
Yeah, but I mean, he also knows how good Mundo is. Like, I don't know. I think Mundo's going to win that match, but we'll see. I mean, maybe it's time to put the strap on Ray. But I guess that would make sense too. You put the strap on Ray, then you send him into Ultima Lucha as the champion. You pop some ratings, you pop some numbers. It would make sense. But, I mean, I always feel like, the money's in the chase is what I always say, which they named an episode of Glow. The money's in the chase is the last episode of this season of Glow.
Gotta watch.
But it is. It really is. So I feel like Mundo should retain going into Ultima Lucha, and then I don't know who the baby face is that they'll have chasing him down, but or maybe the feud with Ray goes on.
There is money, but I think with Ray, there's money in him being an ambassador to the brand. And I think with the hiatus or with the space between seasons, they're missing
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that would be smart. It would be smart to put the belt on him at Ultima Lucha. I don't think it would be smart to put it on him this early after, in the mid-season with the Cueto Cup, which is when they're talking about this match is not at Ultima Lucha. It's at the finale of the Cueto Cup. Putting it on Ray there doesn't make sense to me. If you put it on him at the end of the season, and then even though he's not running around with it now or whatever, you could like have it on him and then go from season to season with this big gap where Ray's out doing events and everything and carrying the belt and showing that this huge star that was a huge star in Mexico and in WWE and ECW, like this guy who's played all over the world is your champion. That'd be great. Though technically they could be doing that with Mundo too. And, that's one of the other things I don't think Lucha quite has dialed in. Like whatever's going on their TV storyline, they should pay these guys a little extra money to represent that outside of it. Like Mundo should be showing up in AAA right now with like all the AAA belts and the Lucha Underground Championship.
Well, he's on Instagram promoting his indie shows, and he's a champion at a whole bunch of local promotions, indie promotions. And so he's showing pictures with their belt. Like he should always have, like when
he should have the Lucha belt with him. Why not? Give the guy a prop. What does it cost you to have a fucking replica belt made for the guy to carry around to these shows? $1,000?
When Sam Callahan became the AEW champ, they had him take the belt all over. And that put the promotion on the map.
Yeah, and Lucha Underground might be a bigger promotion than AEW, but not that much bigger.
Yeah, but I think
they can still use the rub wherever they can get it and keep the credibility with the fans. I mean, one of the reasons why Lucha Underground got over in the first place was it was a fans promotion. Like it was for the people, by the people kind of promotion.
Yeah,
have the guy out there repping it.
How many people are gonna be like Rey Mysterio? I used to watch him in WWF or WCW when I was a kid. Like they're gonna be drawn to that name.
Yeah, as old as Ray was, I don't believe he was ever in the actual WWF, Byron.
He was always E. Whatever.
No, he actually joined right after they switched to WWE.
Yeah, but still, like everyone knows him more than like. There's a lot. I'd say most wrestling fans, people who have enjoyed wrestling in their lives, but don't watch it consistently, don't know what Lucha Underground is. But they know who Rey Mysterio is.
Exactly. So if he's walking around with some new belt, they're going to be like, oh, what's that? Well, I think the same can be said for Mundo. Mundo got around, and he's still more over having been Johnny Morrison or whatever in WWE. I mean, millions and millions of people watched him at one of the bigger stages of WWE when the ratings were super high, whether he was a top guy or not. People fucking remember him from whatever Eminem and all that shit back then.
And let's not forget the millions and millions of viewers of Boone the Bounty Hunter.
I heard that thing's doing okay. I heard it did a little bit better than Bates Haunting on Amazon.
Well, it probably did. I hope it does well.
Well, he put up some of his own money for that thing too, so I honestly hope it goes well also.
Shit, yeah. I yeah, definitely, dude. Good luck, for sure.
Hennigan, Morrison...
Did he put any of his money up for Wrestle Madness is my question.
No. He got paid to be there.
I think it's always a good thing when a professional wrestler can make money without getting dropped on their neck.
You know what else is a good thing, Byron?
What?
The main event of Lucha Underground this week, Killshot versus Jeremiah Crane.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough good things I can say about it.
What do you... the general vibe I was getting on the internet was, on the Twitter machine, was that, hey, Lucha Underground is putting on a match with these two huge guys because they weren't that huge back then, and now they're huge on the indie scene. They're putting on this huge match with these guys, but they don't know what they're doing.
I mean, this for me, when we saw this live, especially, this was like, I had been touting Killshot for a while, and Casey was still kind of like, He's all right. I don't hate on him, but he ain't the super greatest. And and I've gotten that from a few people, but this was the match where I was like, see, I told you Killshot was fucking sweet.
Yeah,
and
these guys
it took Sammy to do it though.
Train together, right?
Yeah,
like
I know they've been up and down the road a lot together. I don't know how much they train together or not, but these guys have done a lot together. I mean, and that because there's no way in hell there's any black man in the world that's going to let Sami Callihan spit full loogie onto his hand, watch it start to drip, and then slap you with it. Like, you have to be friends of some kind for that to be allowed. It was grotesque. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in Lucha Underground. And it was amazing.
Whatever Sami Callihan is doing, he's embracing it. I think you could say that much.
I mean, and he spit in Killshot's face at one point.
If you think that move's disgusting, Justin, wait until they hire Danshoku Dino and you see his version of it.
Does he like really rub and then with the stuff and then?
Yeah, dude, he could just do like straight up Silence of the Lambs status. Just
like a tuck and an I'd fuck me kind of thing.
No, the guy in the fucking jail that throws the jizz.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's multiple MIGs in the next cell. What did he say to you? He said, "I can smell your cunt."
That your Jodie Foster is so much better than your Tejano.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Does anyone have a pinball table?
Oh, too soon. That's like a Twin Towers joke. That's awful. It's a great movie though, and a great scene. Moving on. So, like there's so many things. I don't even know where to start. The spit in the hand, the wiping out Killshot in the whole front row. I don't know. The spike rolling cutter that Killshot did, where Sammy came down like forehead first on purpose. Like he planted an apron Death Valley driver right in front of Byron. Like, fuck you, Byron. I know you're gonna complain about this in a year. Every kick was freaking amazing. The double KO moment, which almost happened for real at Bellator this weekend. The Fight Forever chant that I'm pretty sure I started. And then Killshot hits the big dead to rights double stomp that Stryker still won't use the name that I've given it and calls it something different every single time. I think this time it was the Killshot stomp or something stupid.
That sounds really good.
Dusty Rhodes had the best name for it. He called it the double stomp to the belly willy.
It's a double stomp to the belly willy.
He does it to the face.
What, Byron?
Killshot does it to the face.
No, this time it was clearly Sammy knows how to take this move because Sammy sat up into it, rolled back right off the shoulders and the neck, looked perfect, and did not get Killshot the win because that man, Dante Fox, AR, came in and interrupted things, and Sammy got the win. It was awesome. Loved everything about it.
And also proof that AR Fox is crazy because he was fine hanging out in those rickety-ass rafters.
Yeah, really, though. I mean, and this, again, I believe all this stuff was filmed pretty early in the season because I don't think we had seen even the last match that we saw from AR yet at this point in time.
No,
and it was still kind of like I knew AR from CZW, and I was like, dude, is he gonna jump from up there? Like as soon as he came out, I was like, oh no, then bad things are gonna happen to these people.
Would not be surprised. Yeah, shit. No, I think it was shot out of order, but I don't remember because it was a year ago.
It was more. Well, this stuff was almost a year and a half ago. Like I feel like this whole episode was filmed pretty early on. Because when they got back to the Cueto Cup later in the season, this stuff was not there, which makes sense because, all these guys go on in the Cueto Cup. So they have other matches and everyone's feuds come out of this. And you get a lot of good stuff based on what happens in the Cueto Cup. All right, so I guess we can talk about the very last segment now, the last vignette, coming off of one of the best matches of the whole season with Dante and Jeremiah, or not, Killshot and Jeremiah. We go into a backstage segment where it is announced who Son of Havoc's opponent for next week is going to be, and he looks eerily a lot like Son of Havoc, and his name is Son of Madness, and we're introduced to him through Dario Cueto, setting him up as this question mark that we've seen on the Cueto Cup bracket. We now know who it is. It's Son of Madness.
Is it still Kevin Cross? People were saying they wanted Kevin Cross to be the question mark.
That beard looks pretty real. I don't think Kevin Cross ever had a beard that long. No, this is some other guy who looks pretty much exactly like Son of Havoc, who is also from the Open Road, which is, Dario asked where to bill him from, and he said, bill me from the Open Road. So,
yeah, we
clearly,
talk about who he is, but I don't want to ruin anyone's fun of trying to figure out who he is while he's wrestling next week. I've seen a lot of really hilarious guesses, and none of them are right.
Does it matter who he is, though?
You know, I'm actually a big fan of the guy under the mask, and
So is he going to be any good? Because this gimmick seems like one of the worst ideas that has ever come from DJ and or Roach or whoever came up with this piece of shit. I am not a fan of this moment in this episode at all. I saw that and I was like, what the ever-living fuck are we doing with a Son of Havoc clone? Like, the character is mediocre to begin with, and now there's two of them? Lucha Underground doesn't need two of anything. This is horrible.
That is what I was going to say, Justin, is I'm a fan of the guy under the mask, and I feel bad for him for getting this as his shot.
I mean, do you think they can take him out of this gimmick and repurpose him? Because this just doesn't strike me as something that, A, is going to be very long-lived, and B, that is a good idea. Like, it just doesn't...
I mean, I've seen the guy personally wrestle under 3 different gimmicks before he had this one. So, yeah, like they could repackage him. He's a versatile dude, and he's a good wrestler.
I just don't see where this could possibly lead, unless like there's a son of the Open Road Eiffel Tower or something going on with Evie. I don't see like anything that would be shocking or interesting that they could possibly do with this character.
Son of anger and son of intestinal distress.
I mean, even if you threw Masquerita in there somehow, I still don't think this would work. Am I crazy? Byron, what were you saying before you got cut off? I don't think we heard you.
Oh, I was asking if Madness also has a silence of a Buffalo Bill voice.
Yeah, he does. They gave him the Buffalo Bill voice.
It's weird because Son of Havoc is, I love Son of Havoc. He's awesome, but he's kind of like that underachieving sort of underdog type, and basically like he should be fighting people who are more, I don't know what the right word is, but I don't want to say interesting, but more like...
Look, if this helps him go complete babyface, like total over-the-top cheese dick Bailey hugging people babyface, which is where I think he should be, then maybe it's worth it. But short of that, short of something that puts him in that kind of babyface light, I just can't imagine that there's anything good that can come out of a storyline of having a Son of Havoc clone.
Well, this is something that you learn when you watch hit TV shows like Glow, where you need a big face needs to have a big heel to help complete the story and the motivation, and then to get the right reactions. And basically, now Son of Havoc is going to be in a program with someone that I think underwhelming is probably the best way I can put it.
Look, if he's Son of Havoc and this other guy's Son of Madness, I can only hope that Madness and Havoc show up and bury both of them.
Like, it could be a tag team where they both get pinned in the same match all the time.
Well, and maybe that's where this is leading too. Like, if all of a sudden there's 2 of them and they're in some kind of tag, maybe that's interesting because they have the same look and maybe they're partners. And
yeah, hey bro,
I think the fucking Temple fans are responsible for this now. I just thought of something.
Uh-oh. What happened? How did we get
Were
this?
you guys there for the War of the Kevins by any chance?
Yes.
I was there the day after that, I feel like.
Okay, I'll tell the story next week about the War of the Kevins and how I think that might have influenced this a little bit.
Oh, God. Yeah, so maybe we need Sister of Havoc, Dad of Son of Havoc, which would actually just be Havoc. Like maybe we need a whole family gimmick so at least he could be on a trios, because there's no tag teams in Lucha Underground. Have they ever done a regular just tag team match, or has it always been trios?
Yeah. Cuerno and Cage were a tag team for a while against like Puma and Mundo.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was
That's
season
really
1, though, right?
Mm-hmm. That like lasted a little bit actually.
But that was pre-trios, wasn't it? Wasn't that before the inception of the trios? I feel like since the trios, they have not done a single tag match that wasn't either a 6-man or a trios match.
Yeah, or the Tomicos.
Or Tomicos, yeah.
So fun, and I'd like to see more of.
So anyway, yeah, that was a horrifying way to end an otherwise okay episode of Lucha Underground. On a 10-point scale, I'm going to give this episode a 5. I'm going to say it's right in the middle.
You know what I'm going to give it?
What are you going to give it, Casey? I wonder.
Was Pentagon on the show, Justin?
Pentagon wasn't on the show. No, I didn't. I don't think I saw Pentagon anywhere.
0 out of 5.
Come on. Even with Katrina?
0 out of 5.
Katrina doesn't get like a 0.5 out of you? Katrina and Thunder Rosa.
Oh.
0 out of 5, sir.
Killshot and Jeremiah. Jeremiah spit like an entire loogie on his hand and then smacked it on Killshot. Come on.
It's going to take more than spitting on people. Or I would be a fucking Haruka Aigen fan, which I am. Which that's a really obscure Japanese wrestling reference right now. But, yeah, dude, no. You guys know my score. Is Pentagon on the show? Does he win? Somehow that makes 5 points. And so 0 out of 5.
What about you, Byron? What'd you think? Oh, you haven't seen it yet.
I think it's 6.5.
That's probably right. Okay, look, I went to Raw. I know you don't want to talk about WWE, Casey, but I'm going to make you because I gotta talk about some things before we
go ahead, Justin, because I really need to go to the bathroom right now. So go talk Raw all you want. All
right. There was the N-word dropped on Raw this week. Gonna miss that conversation.
I've heard it's good to hear Hulkster's back. All right.
I just don't like this LeVar Ball segment and fam. Like, I have issue with it, and I get why WWE was doing it, and I get that this wasn't the script, and I get that LeVar went into business, and it was just. It was cringeworthy. It was. Mr. Krabs is right. Like it was just like it made me uncomfortable. I was sitting in a section with a lot of kids, and they were looking at me like, "What is this?" And I'm looking at them like, "I don't know." And I mean, even when Ambrose came out, Ambrose is like, "I don't know half of what you just said, but I've been paid to come out here and finish this gimmick off somehow, some way, and I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to smile and do it anyway." And poor Miz was standing out there like, what did I sign up for? I don't do this. Like, I do Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials, but this is a fucking stretch. The whole thing was just, it was cringeworthy. And, you know, there's a time and a place to drop the N-word, and this isn't it. WWE, you know, a family show that pushes the envelope. But this isn't where it needs to be pushed. We don't need M-bombs on Raw. Like, even in jest, even from a black man to another black man, in any way, even just trying to sound street, like, it just doesn't apply. Like, they don't even say shit. And, you know, regular 8 p.m. shows get away with saying the word shit now. WWE doesn't even go there. What were you saying, Byron?
I'm sorry. I think, you know, a lot of people either like or they don't like the direction that the company is in as far as the maturity of their content. But when you work for them, you have to respect that it's a group effort to put on a PG product, because that's the crowd. You're getting the parents that bring the kids and have a family night out and that sort of thing. That's the company that you work for. And I think a lot of the people who work there get it. And some of the responses on Twitter or in interviews or fall in line with that, where they were very upset that these celebrities brought in and did something that was very inappropriate to do in front of
and I believe that he was in business for himself, or at least off book, to a certain extent. He was floating out there and just hyped up and trying to make it good or whatever. But at the same time, like, the N-word on Raw is just not necessary, man. And then I mean, like, the whole look for black people as a whole on Raw this week wasn't good. Like, even the tightest brand segment felt a little out of place to me. And LeVar and the Ball family coming out, like, that just, it didn't work. It was bad news. And I know they want to do something big with celebrities every time they come to LA. I get that. And they should. It makes sense. But at the same time, that was an epic fail. Now, what wasn't an epic fail, I don't know what to make of Roman Reigns these days. Like, he came out and sitting there live, it was deafening the amount of heat he was getting. He is the company's top heel. It does not matter how you book him. That crowd booed Roman Reigns out of the fucking building, which, don't get me wrong, means that he is completely fucking over.
Yeah.
The dude is so over because people care about him, good or bad, more than anybody else on that entire roster.
Almost more than Cena. Like, a lot of people are kind of like the whole Cena hate.
Yeah, like, why? But why even bother hating on Cena? Like, people, and maybe it is this intentional at WWE now. People are hating on him just because they're trying to force WWE to change the booking of him.
Yeah.
But maybe if WWE stops doing that and changes the booking of him, then he doesn't get the heat. So that the only way left to get the heat is to let this continue. Maybe this is really all WWE can do at this point because the guy is fucking over. And here's the thing. As deafening as the boos were for that guy, I saw more Roman Reigns shirts than any other superstar there. I think from what I saw, Dean Ambrose and Seth probably had a good number out there, and the Bayley shirts were out of control.
Where the fuck are the Taker shirts? Jesus Christ.
No, but they were still selling a Stone Cold Steve Austin Los Angeles 316 shirt that actually moved quite well that night from merch. Which
it's
I was
funny because I think him and the company are in the I don't like you phase again. I don't know.
They're still making money together because I'm pretty sure they all get a cut of that shit.
Yeah, they got that talking Stone Cold figure that's not his voice.
But it sounds like it's almost like the reverse Daniel Bryan push, where Daniel Bryan was he was the underdog, and he had the 12-second WrestleMania loss, and it caused people to get behind him more. Now Roman, they see that there's some electricity going on. They see that you go, hey, do you watch WWE? And someone goes, I don't watch that. Roman Reigns sucks. So now it's like there's the power of someone who doesn't even watch a show has a strong emotional reaction to this character on the show, or they watch the show and they hate this guy so much that they're just talking trash about him. And
I don't know, man. It's over no matter how you cut it. And when Braun threw him into that ambulance, super huge pop.
That was hilarious.
So over. I mean, it was hilarious. And seeing it live, it was a great spot. It looked great live. The only part that didn't play out well is, Braun slapped the ambulance on the back and it didn't pull off immediately like it should have. But other than that whole spot was great. The double down on Cass's heel turn went over great live. Loved it. Oh, yeah. I mean, Enzo came out. There's a big pop. Cass and Enzo start to get back together. Being a longtime wrestling fan, I obviously knew where it was going. But, clearly the younger fans in the audience in the section I was sitting in had a ton of kids. It was like a freaking field trip over there. Because I was on hard camera side. I wasn't down with the rowdies in the on the on camera side. I was on the hard camera side. But yeah, where I was sitting, lots of kids and stuff. And dude, none of them saw it coming. They were all like, "Oh, thank God, Cass and Enzo are back together." And then they walk all the way, they get out of the ring and everything. Like, they got so far, and then Cass swerves on him again, and like kids were crying. It was amazing. Like, kids and women and people's moms were like, oh, I can't believe Cass did it again. Like, it was last week. You didn't think they were going to actually reverse the fucking heel turn, did you?
It's
fucking amazing how little simple stuff like that can still work in this day and age.
It's funny.
So is Enzo supposed to be just a complete fucking moron? Is that what we're getting out of this?
Haven't you seen him, dude?
Yeah, I mean, and Enzo even came out and made the whole speech like, look, I don't care what happened, blah, blah, blah. We're brothers. We've been through this for so long. We gotta heal these wounds, blah, blah, blah. He said he did the whole thing. And people, and look, Enzo's charismatic. He's got good stick work, and he sold it. Like, Cass didn't do shit. Cass just came out, shook his hand, gave him a hug, and then fucking heel turned on him again. like that guy's got no work skills compared to Enzo. Yeah. But look, he's gonna get the standard Vince heel big man push now.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I hope it works out, and I hope they both keep making money and selling merch and stuff after this. But it's kind of funny that they have so much merch for sale, and they have new Funko Pops as a tag team.
Walgreens exclusive Funko Pops that you can only buy at Walgreens.
And
well, so does it make sense to break them up? What do you think? I mean, are you saying they should stay together? Because I honestly don't see the sense in breaking them up, especially when you got Braun and Baron Corbin and all these other guys that they're trying to push to that level. Like, where's Cass even fit in there?
These guys don't need belts. They don't need programs. They go on the show. They do sing-songy stuff to the ring. They got words people love to say. And then, people love to watch them do their thing, win or lose. They dance afterwards, whatever.
Yeah, who were those guys that were doing the worm and hanging out with Rikishi forever? What the fuck were those guys' names?
Too cool.
Too cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't.
They're the modern version of that, right?
Except they probably sell a lot more merch and make the company a lot more money until now.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those Cup of Hada shirts. I saw a lot of them.
How many soft?
Which is crazy because those are fucking stupid shirts, but
Cup of Hada. I mean, Enzo's entertaining. I don't dislike the guy. Like,
he's great.
Yeah, but you need.
Yeah, Scotty Tuhati and Brian Christopher. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. My brain is fried.
I know they were.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess I just don't. I don't see it yet. Like, yeah, I don't see the money in them in breaking them up. I don't think it's bad television writing. Right. I think it's an interesting storyline to do a little something with them and have these two guys that are really over. All of a sudden, one of them be fed up. And I guess it makes sense storyline-wise that Cass is just like, this guy's a fucking schmuck. He just comes out here and talks all this stupid shit every fucking week, and then I have to go and do all the wrestling for him. I mean, like, he shot on him a little bit by saying that because it's been pretty true, especially as weird injuries that Enzo has gotten, and his work rate isn't the greatest for being as hyper as he is.
But to be fair, Cass wouldn't be on TV if it wasn't for Enzo getting both of them over.
Yeah, imagine him as a solo guy in NXT. How little would you care about that freaking guy? Like, would he have ever made it up? Ever? Like, there's no reason to even put a guy like that on Raw. But now, yet they're breaking him off by himself. Yeah. So clearly one of them knows something we don't.
Maybe that's why they're doing it. They kind of figure if they don't get Cass to start using those muscles on his own, to start trying to, pull his own weight now at this early point in his career, then what if he just coasts as a sidekick to a sidekick?
I don't know. I hope, though, that they I think they could save the gimmick, though, by putting Big Show in it permanently instead of Big Cass. I think that would be entertaining. I like the 1 week that they had Big Show in it. I think it would be funny if they left him in it with him and Enzo. And Cass but Big Show could go into it the whole time more reluctantly, like always looking over at this guy like, really? We're doing this fucking gimmicky shit again? And then just being like, okay, fine, fuck it. What else am I doing? Like, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, but I don't see Big Show really at this point in his career doing that. I think he's kind of almost ready to retire. He's been very open about not liking how things are run creatively. now he and Jericho talked about how they prefer to do live events.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, what's going to happen here? Big Cass is probably going to have a feud with Big Show at this point. What else are they going to do with Cass? Show's going to probably have to put Cass over before he gets to retire and get his Hall of Fame status or whatever.
Yeah, you know what Cass is going to be doing? He won't be selling T-shirts.
Not a single one. Big Show still could though.
Well,
Anyway,
getting paid less money to do the same job.
The other things I liked about the live show, I loved the Heyman, Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar stuff. Played out great live there. Seeing Brock come out too, like, dude is a superstar. And he did nothing there, but it popped the whole freaking crowd. And the heat with him and Samoa Joe, it's like, and nobody knows who's the face there either. I like, who's the face between Brock and Samoa?
Doesn't matter.
Nobody knows. They're both heels, right?
They're both big tough guys, and you're basically watching two trains collide. Except you know that Lesnar's going to win, Joe's going to lose, but Joe is good enough at making it seem like he's.
You think Lesnar's going to hold the belt? I think they get the belt off of Lesnar.
I think they spoon feed Joe. I think they have a money match later on a more important pay-per-view.
I don't know. And you might be right with the fact that Joe has put Brock out and put Heyman out. Like, the fact that Brock's jobbing out to Joe on these lead-ups does kind of make me feel like Brock wins. But at the same time, I feel like with the amount of appearances they get out of Brock and what they need to do with the belt next, I feel like they have to take it off of Brock. I don't think they can leave it there. And are they going to find somebody more credible? I mean, I guess they could have Roman or Braun take it off of him, but
I think that's what they're going for. That's the big money in their eyes. It's Roman, Braun, Brock, and Joe is still relatively new. Joe has been someone I've wanted to fight Brock for a long time.
Well, look, Joe has gotten the rub. The highlight of him getting the coquina clutch on Brock this week at Raw in Los Angeles will be a career highlight for him forever. When he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame 52 years from now, they'll show that clip of the time that Samoa Joe choked out Brock, match or no match, belt or no belt. Yeah. That moment was great. Nia Jax, however, finishing off the show and basically running through the entire women's division before she hit Sasha.
Yeah.
Super questionable.
I watched that. I literally
live they had Seth and Bray Wyatt finish off the night. Because obviously they knew that this women's thing might be good TV, but certainly wasn't a good way to finish off a live event, even with Sasha winning at the end. Like, it was X-Pac heat the whole time. Like, Mickie James was killing it and still got no kind of pop.
Yeah.
There was nothing until Sasha started to turn it around a little bit. Like, for 5 matches straight to end the show, nobody in Staples Center gave a half of a shit.
Raw has not done a good job trying to get storylines or trying to get any sort of continuity going with the characters. I remember in NXT, Nia Jax, whatever, she was like even worse than she is now. And she had just the hugest match with Bayley, the 2 matches, and they split them. But Bayley put her out the front face lock, put her to sleep, and won the match. That was like the biggest thing. They made it a big deal. They didn't fight every single episode.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think the obvious plan here is they're still trying to make this star out of Sasha. Somehow Alexa got there first because Alexa is a bona fide star. Alexa could have burned the house down coming out. Like when she came out at the end, huge pop. One of the biggest pops of the night. Alexa is fucking over, and maybe she can finally give Sasha the rub that Charlotte was close to giving Sasha, but still never gave her. And I feel like that's the plan. Like, the merch is kind of there for Sasha. She's so close to being a top star, but somehow it's Alexa.
Sasha has to go over to SmackDown. Between the two of them, Sasha emphasized in her skill set in-ring action. And Alexa emphasized character work, facial expressions, and just connecting with the crowd.
But it just goes to show you, like, work rate is not everything. Like, Alexa is an okay worker. Sasha's clearly better, but Alexa's more over and deserves it.
But in the past, 6 months or whatever the brand split was, Alexa was on SmackDown getting her skill set highlighted. Well, Sasha.
But she wasn't even. Honestly, she lucked into a little bit of it, but she rose to the occasion. Like, those other girls in SmackDown had been trying to cut promos on each other for months, and then they gave Alexa the stick like one time, and she lit them all the fuck up. But that's all it took.
But they let her do her thing, and she got to do the thing she's good at. And Sasha is good in the ring, and they ruined that. They diluted what she could do well so much it doesn't matter.
You know what would make Sasha really good? You know what would make her awesome?
Not dying.
Wrestle Joey Ryan. Let her wrestle Joey Ryan. That's what would make her awesome.
I mean, who doesn't want to wrestle Joey Ryan? That puts you on the map.
But that's what she needs. These girls are not elevating each other for the most part. Mickie James elevated Alexa.
Yeah.
But Mickey's like the only one that could do that. Tamina's actually been okay. Like, they need to let her wrestle more because I think these girls could learn something from her. She's completely boring as a character. But this women's division, unless they figure out a way to spice it up somehow, like Alexa, Becky, Charlotte are the division, and it's not Sasha. Somehow they have failed with Sasha, and I don't quite understand it because 7 or 8 months ago, she was on the cusp of being something really, really huge, and somehow they fucking ruined it. And I still don't quite understand, but it's pretty ruined now to the point where I almost don't really even care. And they're doing the same thing with Bayley now too. The fact that Bayley was the first one squashed out in that, and like she's kind of out of the picture now.
She was huge when she showed up.
Her, like I said, her merch is through the roof. She's a pure baby face. They got to book her that way. They got to get her in the chase in a way that makes sense. Honestly, it should be against a heel Sasha.
Yeah.
And they got to find a way to make a heel Sasha versus Bayley happen before WrestleMania for the belt, and then finally put Bayley over, either leading into it at Rumble or coming out of it. Maybe not at Mania, but why not? Put a babyface over at Mania. Sell some goddamn T-shirts. I don't know.
They should do that.
I got no comment on SmackDown other than, I can't believe they just put it on Carmella after all that anyway.
Yeah.
What the,
The whole thing got ruined. The whole thing just...
And another Punjabi prison match? That's
going to be really good. They should do the Big Show's dad for dinner.
Do you remember SmackDown 6 months ago? Mauro Ranallo, everybody who was on there, like, it was the A show for a while.
It was. And you know what?
It's a C show now. NXT's better. It's fucking horrible.
Ronaldo's on NXT now, so that brought it up. I think SmackDown will be the A show again. You know, once it keeps developing, I think the gender thing is working out okay.
Gender's okay, but they got him stuck in the feud with Orton.
Yeah. Well, I
feel like now they're going to have to put the belt back on Orton. Like, they can't go 3 deep and not switch the belt.
But the thing, one way to look at it is he is learning how to be a champion and how to wrestle as a champion in main event on matches from Orton.
Orton? But yes, I'd agree with that.
Backstage, backstage stuff, whatever. Like, that's something where if you're serious about gender in the main event, that's who he's going to learn from. But hopefully he gets to take that momentum and have an interesting promo with someone new afterwards, or interesting program where he can carry himself a little bit better. But I don't know. I think SmackDown, I still think the interesting thing about SmackDown is how are they what happens to everyone? Like, how are they going to make themselves interesting?
Look, Cena's coming back next week, so that should save everything, right?
It'll be okay, but I think the whole Cena, I don't know, maybe he does pop ratings, maybe...
I don't mind Cena at all, and I like the pseudo mid-card status that they've had him in, where they elevate him to the top of the picture for a couple of nights, and then he's just back at the top of the mid card or got some side angle or doing, he's like the Miz. They just put him in a decent side angle in the middle of the show. It fills time, and it's not boring. I mean, he's fine, and his wrestling's fine. And he pops the younger crowd. He sells merch. Kids love him.
He does great matches as far as like they're entertaining. They may not be New Japan 6-star matches, but
all right, look, you mentioned New Japan. What's going on this weekend? What's the haps? You're coming to town for this thing tomorrow? I don't think I'm going because I spent all my money on Raw, but what's up? What are you doing?
I am flying back home tomorrow night, and I'm going to New Japan's Long Beach, California shows this weekend, and I'm going to see J-Man there and a bunch of other marks. I'm going to watch this incredibly historic match, Ring of Honor World Champion versus IWGP World Champion Cody Rhodes versus Kazuchika Okada, and it's going to be probably a really good match. I don't know. But
you think so?
It's World Champion versus World Champion, which is a spectacle in and of itself.
And who do you think's going to win?
Okada's going to win. Why wouldn't
he?
But Cody is super over with the New Japan audience, which I think is cool.
Now, I feel like Okada's going to be more over here in LA, though. I'm sorry, Long Beach, technically, right?
They're calling it LA. It's so Long Beach. Long Beach sucks. But
except for the aquarium and the Bubba Gump shrimp.
Ooh,
yeah, the aquarium is fucking dope. I do give that high marks.
And that Bubba Gump shrimp for a chain restaurant, that particular one happens to be better than most of them. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're taking the food right out of the aquarium.
I think J-Man and
maybe because the one in City Walk's fucking garbage. If that's even still there.
I don't even. Well, that one used to be a Gladstone's too, didn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Gladstone's is like 1,000,000 times better.
Gladstone's is like one of the best seafood restaurants in the Los Angeles area. Like the original one's in Malibu for people who don't know, and then they put one at Universal City Walk, and it was decent. And then it turned into a tourist trap, and the Gladstone's people were like, "Well, fuck this," and they sold it to Bubba Gump Shrimp, and then it became like a cheesy fucking tourist chain trap seafood restaurant.
Some people love it. Casey talks about it all the time. He has horrible taste. Anyway, I'm super excited about New Japan. I never thought I'd see a New Japan show, or at least in America. And
so here's the question: Ring of Honor, PWG, or Lucha Underground? This is from Mr. Krabs. Not New Japan. New Japan's not in there. Ring of Honor, PWG, or LU.
What about them?
Which one's your favorite? Which one's the best of those three?
Best?
Yeah.
Personally, I would say I enjoy Lucha Underground the most because that's the one I watch. I've been to PWG shows and they're fun, but I don't watch the DVDs after the shows, and I can't get tickets to see them live. I never watch Ring of Honor. I like Lucha Underground the best. I like the whole noir aspect added to.
I'd say single day event. Like if there were those three companies were running a show the same day, in LA, and you could only go to one, I would go to PWG because as a single event, it would probably blow doors more than anything else. But there's not going to be any storyline consistency or anything like that you would get from Lucha Underground. Like Lucha Underground's a different thing. Yeah. And I think both of them kick the shit out of Ring of Honor on a regular basis. As much as I know that there's a lot of Ring of Honor fans out there, something about Ring of Honor is just really tired and stale to me, even more so than Impact at this point. Like I find Impact more entertaining than I do Ring of Honor at this point. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, Impact's also on a real TV network. Ring of Honor is like public access. Well,
I think that Ring of Honor's got around the same budget as Impact, though.
Well, they look shittier.
Maybe.
It's put together worse. But I mean,
I like a lot of the workers at Ring of Honor too. I don't care for the product that much. Go ahead, Byron.
It's a horrible thing to say, but I think basically anyone that I've ever heard of in Ring of Honor that I've wanted to see, I've kind of just waited to watch them go somewhere else. Like, I'll see someone in New Japan. I'll see the guys that are worthwhile watching in New Japan. Or I'll see when they get hired by WWE or Lucha Underground. And it's a horrible thing to say. I don't think it's fair, but that's just how it's kind of worked out. I just don't watch Ring of Honor. But I
It
do
used to
think,
be that you just wait to see him in PWG because there was like a pretty like long period where PWG kind of became like Ring of Honor West Coast.
Yeah, very much
But-
so.
Yeah, but see,
And it was even better though,
I-
because everyone would come and just do like the super high spots filled version of whatever they did in Ring of Honor.
right, and I pick Lucha Underground as long as they still have my favorite wrestlers there. Because
As long as
Lucha
Pentagon's
Underground,
there.
yeah. Because Lucha Underground fans annoy me the least out of the three groups
that's
that you
true.
mentioned.
I do think though, as a live event, Lucha Underground audiences has a lot of the same energy that PWG has, and it's some of the most fun you'll have at a wrestling show. You don't have to worry
Agreed.
about looking ridiculous. You just go nuts and the wrestlers go nuts right back at you, and everyone has a good time. And Lucha Underground has that too. I think as to your question, a one-day event, you're gonna miss.
Well,
half the
Lucha
fun
Underground
on
has a
Lucha
better
Underground.
taco truck, but PWG has better merchandising opportunities.
Yeah, I love when they do all their stuff around the ring with their merch, and you get to go talk to Chris Hero or Tommy N, or you get to talk to Zack Sabre Jr.
And yes, Krabs, I've seen Lucha Vavoom and The Crash, and they're both very good at times, but inconsistent.
Yeah, we got to go to a Crash show.
We do. We have to go. Josh wants us to go, but I got to do some things before I'm allowed to leave the country. So we'll see. All right. So I got a couple of other quick things to talk about. I'm going to talk about Bellator first, Case, and then we can talk about some face-off. UFC is kind of on a break this week. UFC will be back with 2 shows going into their big fight weekend. Also, if you want to go to the UFC Hall of Fame, hit me up in the DM. There's free tickets going around, and if you can't still get one, hit me up. I know how to get one if you're going to be in the Vegas area for the Hall of Fame. Can't get you free tickets for any of the shows, probably get you a decent seat for money, but let me know. The UFC is coming into their big thing, but they're kind of off this weekend. And they just announced some big fights, like Cyborg is now fighting Tanya Evinger, who's being brought over, which is interesting, though Tanya is still a little bit undersized, and I believe that as scrappy and as entertaining as Tanya is, Cyborg should have no problem beating her up in the face parts. Other UFC stuff, I will say congratulations to Felice Herrig. People keep doubting her, but the little bulldog is something different now. Like, she flipped the switch. I don't know if you saw that fight or not, Casey, but
Fuck yeah, I saw the fight. Fucking poop.
that girl is on a different level now. Literally beat the shit out of Justine
Dude,
Kish.
We almost got
Okay.
a poop stoppage. It's so exciting. And then the ref didn't see it, and she ended up winning anyway. But what if the other girl won because the ref didn't see the poop?
Oh, that would have been messed up.
It would have been
Like
a shit-based screw job, and it would have been amazing.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, the new unified rules state that if you poop yourself, you are basically thrown out. You lose.
She didn't just poop herself, man. She shit all over the mat.
She smeared the mat with some poop. At least that's what the photos look like. I don't know how accurate they are, but that's what it looks like. But yeah, congrats to Felice on basically beating the shit out of that girl.
Yeah.
And people just don't know, man. Like her coach, Jeff Curran, he has got sick jits. And I don't know if people remember Jeff from WEC or some of his early UFC days, but like that dude, like he's a real jiu-jitsu player, and Felice has finally picked that stuff up. And the thing that these other girls are not realizing about her is she is a complete, well-rounded mixed martial artist. And what we're seeing right now is that those are the people who are beating up the specialists, like Tyron versus Wonder Boy. Tyron is an all-around mixed martial artist. Wonder Boy is a karate specialist. He's a fucking better version of Sage Northcutt. But you get these guys who are well-rounded mixed martial artists, and it's hard to beat them. I also had no issue with the stoppage with Kevin Lee over Michael Chiesa. I thought that was completely fine. Like, yeah, maybe the fight got stopped a couple seconds early, but can you really tell me that Chiesa was going to get out of that choke? Like, Lee had that sewn up. I don't ever want to see that fight again. I don't need that hype. Like, I'd like to see Lee versus, I don't know, Eddie would be nice, or who else is there? Edson Barbosa, maybe, or bring Cowboy back down from 170 to fight Kevin Lee. That'd be fucking spectacular.
Some Kevin Lee trivia for you, actually.
Oh, what's that?
That was Ugg's name on Salute Your Shorts. His real name was Kevin Lee, and they called him Ugg because he was ugly.
Ugly. I like it.
That was a good
I can
show.
get behind it.
Great show.
Anyway, Casey and I'll give all of our picks going into like the double or triple event or whatever they're doing at UFC and our thoughts on the Hall of Fame or whatever next week. This week, though, I got to talk quickly about Bellator. Meathead Mitrione getting that win over Fedor Emelianenko, like I told you was going to happen. After almost getting a double KO for real. Like, they both hit each other at the same time, and I was like, oh, shit, what's going to happen here? And Fedor was like, that shit hurt. And Mitrione was like, Mitrione came to, and he even said this in an interview, he came to, saw Fedor was on the ground, and was like, oh, shit, Fedor's on the ground. I better beat the shit out of him right now. So he just jumped on him, and it was like one of those things where both dudes were clearly jacked up, and Mitrione was just the one that came back to reality faster. Was an awesome fight, like highly entertaining in my opinion. Chael Sonnen humiliated Vanderlei, but yet didn't put him away. Like, I thought that fight was good though. Like, if that was what you were there to see, you finally saw it. It really helps Chael's cause now, because if he hadn't won a fight in big fashion after the Tito thing and after some of the other shit he's been through, like, look, he lost pitifully to Rashad before he left UFC and like all this stuff. Like, Chael has not been on a good run. This was a big moment for Chael, and this gives Chael the ability to entertain us for a couple more years with a few more fights, whether he wins or loses. I think, as I said many, many weeks ago, Chael can fight Fedor. I think Fedor has to take the Chael fight if Chael wants it. I think it's big money for both of them, and it's Fedor's best chance to go out on top at this point. Take a Chael fight. Fedor beats up an undersized Chael Sonnen after a bunch of shit talking. Fedor goes out with a huge paycheck, and everybody's happy. But we'll see, because I think Chael, having won now, might have some other options. We'll see.
I don't know. He went out and cut a promo on a guy who lost the fight before. It's like, okay. He said he had a doughy fucking head, and it's pretty hilarious. Said he hated New York, which was great.
Which was awesome. I mean, he said that after he won in the cage too. He was just like, fuck these guys. And it's legit too. He does not like New York. That was no bullshit. He doesn't care if he's fighting in Madison Square Garden. He hates New York. He's a Portland guy. He's an Oregon guy. He doesn't care about.
And he called himself gangsta again too, which is always a fun time.
Hey, score one for the bad guy. What else happened? Like, Bellator was actually really, really good. Like, I'm very happy that I got that pay-per-view. I love that this super hype train Aaron Pico kid that everyone's been hyping up forever got the brakes beat off of him by this 8-2 fighter Zach Freeman that no one is ever going to hear from again. I guarantee nobody gives a crap about anything Zach Freeman does for the rest of his career. Like, that, who was the dude who beat CM Punk? Do you even remember?
Mickey.
Oh, you remember his name? Shit, Mickey Gall. Good job, Byron.
Mickey Gall.
I didn't think anybody remembered that kid anymore. But like, he's going to be another who cares for like the rest of his career. Nobody cares about Zach Freeman. Aaron Pico will probably go on to do great things, but got fucking humiliated in his debut fight after all the hype, and I loved every minute of it. Brent Primus, who I like to call Primus, took Michael Chandler's belt away after this weird broken foot stoppage, but this is another stoppage I don't have an issue with. I didn't have an issue with the Kevin Lee one, even though it was technically early, but he was going to win. This one, like, look, Chandler, your foot's fucking broke, man. And it was broke during combat. and you can't continue the fight. Like, the rest of the fight's going to be garbage, and the guy's going to hurt you even worse. He's going to kick your entire foot off. That's when fights should be stopped. And the crowd feels like they lost something or missed out on something. You didn't miss out on something. Like, imagine if that was a street fight. You break your foot for any reason in a street fight. What happens? Do those guys just stop? They stop beating your ass or trying to take your wallet or steal from you or whatever? No. You get your ass beat, then you go get healed up, and then you go to their house with a shotgun and kick in the door. Like, whatever you got to do later. But, like, that's the fight game, people. Like, if you're mad about somebody, you know, getting mortally wounded and the fight being over, that's how fights end in the real world. That's what happens. Somebody gets hurt at some point for whatever reason, and then the other guy wins. So who cares if the belt changed hands that way? I'm fine with it.
So are you saying that you disagree with the Brown stoppage in fights?
No, the Brown stoppage should be awaited. That's perfectly okay.
Justin, quick question. I need an honest answer. If you were an MMA fighter, would your nickname be the Brown stoppage?
I would take that. I think I would take that. That's not a terrible name. What else happened in Bellator? Bellator was Douglas Lima kept his belt against Lorenz Larkin, which means that Douglas Lima is a bona fide badass because Lorenz Larkin is a real UFC fighter coming over to Bellator. He's beat some top guys. He's a top guy. I think it totally legitimizes Douglas Lima and all of Bellator for them to get that win. Ryan Bader, however, beating Phil Davis in a battle of who could care less. Those two fucks couldn't beat anybody in the top 10 in the UFC light heavyweight division, in my opinion. Neither of them deserves any kind of belt, period. Like, they don't deserve the World Series of Fighting belt. Fuck both those guys. They're garbage. They didn't put up a fight. They danced around each other like two bitches. It was horrible. I hated it. Super mad. I would fight either one of them, and I'm pretty sure I would win. Fuck those guys.
Strong.
I mean, it was so boring. It was these are two guys who should be at like headline level for a UFC card. They don't have any kind of gumption. They don't have any kind of sack. They played patty cake with each other for fucking all those rounds. Like, it was horrible. Horrible fight. Those guys don't deserve to be called professional fighters. There was nothing professional about that. They didn't want it. They didn't act like they wanted it. They didn't go for it. They didn't act like they were going to go for it. They didn't please the fans. They didn't please their coaches. They didn't please themselves. They didn't please the promotion. They did nothing for nobody, and neither one of them should have any kind of fucking belt. Strip Bader right now just for being a dipshit, lazy motherfucker who didn't put up enough of a fight. Sorry.
It's fired up. I like it.
I'm
going to get this fired up about Face Off, Justin.
It's coming. Last thing I got to say. Actually, two things I got to touch on. James Gallagher, the little Conor McGregor, won over Lyoto Machida's older brother, Chinzo Machida, who should be a badass and somehow isn't. And he let this little Irish prick beat his face off and cut a promo on him like he was the next Conor McGregor.
Hold up, Justin. How fucking tiny do you have to be the little Conor McGregor?
Well, he's also a 145, but he is clearly smaller than Conor. And he's out of SBG, I believe. Him and Conor are friends. He's not UFC level by any stretch of the imagination. And Chinzo Machida is super good. But, dude, this James Gallagher guy choked out a Machida.
Ooh.
Yeah, like, that's embarrassing. Like, I hope Lyoto kicks his older brother's ass. Because I believe Chinzo is the older brother, too.
Oh, wow.
He's a 145er. All right, so here's the last thing I got to talk about fight-wise before we talk about face-off. BJ Penn. What the ever-living fuck? So depressing. It was, like, not even really a fight. Like, I was excited to see this Dennis Seaver BJ Penn fight. Unlike the Chael Vanderlei fight, that was a good Legends match where even though Vanderlei clearly was outclassed by Chael, still put up a decent fight. After the second round, like, BJ had a couple moments, didn't even look like he was there, didn't even look like he had the gas to go 3 fucking rounds with Dennis Seaver. And, like, I felt like the ref was being nice and letting the fight go all the way to the end just so BJ could have the moral victory of saying he lasted 15 minutes magically in the octagon. how fucking sad and into a great career is this between the Yair beatdown and then just barely getting to the end of a match with Dennis Siebert? What the fuck happened to BJ Penn? I don't know. Were you as depressed by that as I was, Case?
Oh God, I just heard how bad it was, and it's like, you know, maybe his last fight should have been his last fight. I mean, it was a bad enough loss, you know? Like, really?
I couldn't stomach it. It was just really, it was really hard to watch. And it wasn't painful like he was getting destroyed painful. It was painful like, why is this person in an octagon painful? It's like, this is like old Facebook prelim worthy, maybe. It was just not a good fight.
And it sucks because his actual, like, debut in the UFC, I think, is when our cable company started carrying the UFC again after the long hiatus where they refused to carry it.
Right.
And if not, it was like one of those first few. So it's like, oh man. So he's always got kind of like that special place.
Now, was that the Kyle Uno one where he just ran in and did all the straight punches and knocked him out and then ran out of the ring?
Yeah. And they're trying to interview him and they're like, what the fuck? Where's he going?
And he just ran away, and then he came back later like, oh, yes, it was great. And then he just ran off again. Like, that was so amazing to me. And Kyle Uno was a big deal in Japan. Like, that little motherfucker was a badass.
Yeah, I totally thought he was going to win that fight because I had seen his stuff in Japan.
I mean, I think the thing that people don't realize, though, is that I think Kyle Uno was juicing a little bit in Japan, and when he came over here, he was not, which was the problem with many Pride fighters, from what I understand, is that their testing rules were slightly different over there than what we were doing here in the States. Yeah, as in pump up on whatever you want, just go in there and kick that dude's ass.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of that stuff was overlooked here too. But I mean, the straight steroids and stuff like that, some of the guys were probably using in Pride were still against the rules here. TRT was always something you could do here, though, and a lot of guys did until it was finally illegal. So, all right, let's talk face off. Brian, you didn't have anything else to say about New Japan? You're just excited to go?
I'm excited to go. I think there's a lot of really good matches. Billy Gunn is going to take on Tanahashi, which I think is interesting.
I'd buy that for $1.
I mean, I think it'll be a decent match, but I it's not the match I would put Tanahashi in. But then again,
how long are you even in town for? Am I even going to see you while you're here?
I fly out July 10th.
Oh, so you'll be around for the whole week. All right, I'll be around. We'll hook up next week at some point. Maybe we'll do a MMM show live and in person.
That would be awesome.
Maybe. We'll see. I have some hiccups with that might prevent it, but I'll let you know what those are offline. We'll talk about it. Mostly it's that the entire brass from Lucha Underground is probably going to hunt me down for talking shit on them tonight, but we'll see. We'll see if I make it through the week.
Those guys are real smart. You think they saw Son of Madness on a piece of paper and thought this is a good idea?
Yeah, I kind of think they did.
I don't know.
And look, I can praise them all day long about the stuff that I love, but every now and then there's a stinker in there. Son of Madness looks pretty much like a stinker to me.
I mean, I think if you do a Son of Madness, then whatever.
Look, I'm calling a spade a spade. I think Son of Madness is probably the worst Lucha Underground idea to date. Hands down.
Unless there's a lot of cool stuff that's introduced outside the ring, I think at best it's lazy.
I would watch a Sexy Star marathon over anything with this.
Yeah, it's funny because I was going to say Sexy Star winning the belt is the worst thing that they've ever done, but
no, I think this might be worse to me. To me personally.
No,
we'll see. Now I've got issue with DJ or Roach or Stolman. I don't know who wrote it, or maybe it was EV Dub's idea. I don't know.
Well, now they're just going to blame it on fucking Stolman. They're going to say it was totally his idea.
You know this was Stolman. They bet him to the writer's room, and they're like, "What do you got, kid? Let's have this great idea you keep talking about." And he pitched it, and they're like, "Well, we're going to do this one because this next idea has got to be worse."
I don't know who pitched it. All right. Face off.
Dude.
What happened, Casey? This was a little bit out of control for a show that's just supposed to be a fun little makeup romp.
Oh man, like actual sacrilege in the makeup industry, which were Glenn's words. Okay, I've been watching this show for a while. Glenn's been a judge. I've never seen him get as actually mad as he was this week.
Yeah, he was fucking hot. Like everybody was hot. There was some strife and some things. Let me set up the show for people who don't know or don't watch. Makeup challenge this week was to do something whimsical. They were given these houses. One was wooden, one was made out of flowers. And from that, they had to come up with a whimsical threesome of costumes, witch, fairy related or something. I don't know if it was even that specific. It was just supposed to be whimsical, which for a lot of these guys, for a lot of these guys, it's like, I do monster makeup, like, fuck you, whimsical. And for a lot of other people, they're like, oh, I love fairies and wolves and shit. So, you know, and then there's people like Fina that she could probably get off on anything because she's awesome. Anyway, so Team Twisted 4, who think they're Twisted 6, but haven't had 6 members since like the first 5 minutes of the show this season. They were down to 4 people. So Joseph got traded to their team. And Joseph seems solid the last couple weeks. Like he's not the top guy on Team Ethereal Effects.
He did win week 1 though.
That's
he
true.
Won the first challenge.
So I mean that was a solid trade, and you know it was the dropping of the buffs that I predicted was probably going to happen because that foursome had no chance without at least one other person. And even with Joseph, who knows? Because the other 4, So. Let's talk about Team Ethereal Effects first, though, because then we can get to the good stuff. Suzanne was elected leader, she said, but it was kind of like she reluctantly put herself up, and they all said, well, since the good people can't do it again, I guess you're nominated. They got the wooden treehouse, and the original plan was to do a wood witch, a woodchuck, and a fawn. The fawn didn't go so good though, Case. What did you see that thing?
It didn't.
Like, the sculpture was not there.
No, but then what they ended up with, they decided, oh, we'll just make it a girl woodchuck, and it looked just as bad, just a different shape.
Yeah, like, it was horrifying.
Yeah, but it was still leaps and bounds above anything the other team did.
Well, and that's the crazy part, because they were only given 2 days for this particular challenge for some reason, probably because in a 5-day taping week, they only had 2 days left. So they gave them 2 days for this challenge, which five on each side should be okay, and it's mostly a mask thing. The rest of the costuming wasn't that important, and cowls could be done or not done. So they did this 2-day challenge, and the fawn was a total fail, so they switched to a mama woodchuck. And the mama woodchuck just looked like a really bad cartoon thing. There was nothing whimsical about it. It looked like bad Korean animation that wasn't worthy of being in a good cartoon. It wasn't good. But Nelson pulled off like the sweet tree trunk thing. And Andrew took home the overall winner for Team Ethereal Effects. And yes, even their shitty woodchuck mama was better than anything the other team did. The Twisted 5 or whatever you want to fucking call them.
Because he did the father woodchuck that was like one of the best makeups that they've ever done on this show. He looked like fucking Wilford Brimley as a woodchuck.
And now Andrew also strikes me as a guy that's kind of your ilk. Like he's a blood and guts guy, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure he's seen Basket Case a million times.
Yeah, he said that he's dedicating the win to his mom because she would love to see him finally do something nice and cute instead of like demonic. So yeah, I could sympathize.
Which is awesome. I like that he just kind of embraced it, and it showed, like, hopefully he showed himself that, like, dude, you're good at this regardless of what the style is. Even though you have a style and an aesthetic, like, people should pay you to do this all the time because you're good at it.
Yeah, and his company is the shit. Like, if, you know, he makes really awesome stuff that's really high end. Because those masks are like $600 to $1,000 each. He makes silicone masks, and if he can branch out to pretty pretty fairy stuff, then that's even more money right there.
Well, but this was a little more whimsical comedy thing with the woodchuck. But yeah, I mean, I think he could probably. I'd like to see where he goes this season. I mean, and he's slowly becoming one of the front runners as well.
Yeah.
So Nick takes the lead for Team Twisted 6. They got the flower house that I mentioned before, and right off the bat, Mr. Westmore comes in because they only got 2 days on this challenge. So Westmore comes in and he loves Nick's fairy godmother, but thinks Jill's is pretty much garbage. And wasn't entirely wrong. Like, Jill was not off to a great start, but it was still pretty early. Like, you never know. So Jill, what happened? Jill like took a break or something?
Well, she got pissed because he started sculpting over her stuff, and then
right. So Nick started sculpting over it.
Yeah, Nick started sculpting over her shit, and then he just completely ripped it apart and started redoing it.
Well, she was out of the room when he did that, though, right?
Yeah, because like when he started fucking with it, she got mad and walked away. She's like, I need to take a break from this, you know, because it's not something that you do. And
yeah, like this is unheard of in the makeup world. Like,
which Glenn was
it's a real environment. Like, even if you own the shop that everyone's working out of and somebody's on your crew, like, if you're going to start them over or take everything out of a mold that they've done, you would tell them, even if it's your company and you own it. And even then, you probably still wouldn't do that. You'd probably just start another one yourself. Like, you wouldn't just fucking nuke everything they did.
The best way to describe it to people that, you know, might not be as familiar with the makeup industry, that might be watching or listening right now, it would be like going to art school and the art teacher taking the paints out of your hand, fucking ripping out the canvas and putting another one there and painting it and saying, here, turn this in.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was one of the strangest things I've ever seen. And obviously Jill was pretty heated, but you know, shit went on, and the look wasn't good. Big surprise.
No, and their edges were garbage. It looked like it had a big fucking gash across the face because they couldn't get the edges down right.
It looked like poorly mashed potatoes, all in all sorts of different ways. It was really bad. It was kind of sad. Now, on the good side, Casey knocked out some awesome horns and did some good work there.
Which is her day job, is making horns.
Exactly. She has a whole company based on like making horns for shit. And then Joseph like came up with some great color palettes and schemes, like put in some solid work. So those guys are in the clear. Team is still in the bottom, and Nick and Jill both get called out for this fiasco of redoing the second fairy godmother and how that played out. And it was ugly. Like Glenn, as you said, I don't know if I've ever seen the color in his face change like that before.
No, he's usually so kicked back. Even if he's like criticizing, you know, even when he's like stern about it, he's not angry, and he was pissed. And it's like, okay, like as soon as I saw how mad he was, I'm like, yeah, Jill's not going home.
Oh yeah, and it was embarrassing too because they had that hot chick from Lost there too, whatever her name is, and like all in front of a guest. I felt like it was almost inappropriate that they were arguing like this with a guest there.
Yeah, it's like you're
Elizabeth Mitchell. That's her name, by the way. Elizabeth Mitchell.
A bad look for the show. You're gonna embarrass us in front of the guests with your fucking horrible.
Yeah,
tactics.
I felt like Glenn was gonna turn to her at any moment and be like, "Look, this normally doesn't happen. I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing that they did this to each other. They're awful people." And I half think that that's why, at the end of the day, Nick had to go.
And you know what bothered me though, Justin?
What's that?
Jillian called him Michael Westmore again.
Oh,
Mr. Westmore.
Mr. Westmore. I even said Mr. Westmore.
Man's a fucking legend. Show him some respect.
I thought his first name was Mr. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
That's basically how they presented him in every season.
Yeah.
Like sometimes Mackenzie, she said my dad this week, but she says Mr. Westmore half the time.
Byron, I wasn't talking about the song basket case, you dipshit. I was talking about the movie. Sorry. Had to yell at Byron.
No, that was a really good song.
No, not Green Day. Not Green Day. Not Green Day.
It's a really good song. A lot of people like it.
Yep, not Green Day.
Maybe we should tweet the music video from the.
No, we should tweet Bilal basket case. No.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
Please,
for
Byron,
free.
please watch it. You've made a horror movie. You need to watch Basket Case, Byron.
But Justin, do you have the time?
Do I have the time?
Yeah.
Just mute him now before he makes the rest of the joke.
What time is it, Byron?
Do you have the time to listen to me whine?
No, I don't like Green Day. I would rather be at that Grateful Dead reunion concert going around right now.
Wait, aren't they? Who the fuck's even alive in the Grateful Dead?
Did they just play?
Look, they can't be any worse than Garcia. He only had 9 fingers. All they need to do is find some guy with 10 fingers and they're set.
Oh, so that disqualifies the Black Power Ranger.
Bing, 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 bing. All right. Well, Face Off, I can't imagine that we're going to get any more drama of that caliber the rest of the entire season, but hopefully we get a whole lot better makeup because honestly,
you know what's funny?
Nothing there was really earth-shattering this week.
They lost another person, so they're going to get another free person again, probably.
No, because it'll be 5 versus 4. So I imagine they have to run with 4 next week, and then if they're down to 3 versus 5, then they'll have to, shake up the buffs again. I still need to watch Big Brother. Big Brother's on against Lucha Underground for me, and I don't have Sling right now. I'm still debating whether or not to get Sling back, so I haven't been watching the East Coast feed of Lucha Underground. And I was having technical issues with it the last week that I was still able to get it the other way. So I'm really up in arms whether or not I want to continue Sling or if I just want to keep watching Lucha Underground on shitty Time Warner. So we'll see. Because at one point I had canceled Time Warner and just was watching everything on Sling, but now I've gone back the other direction. We'll see. Somebody are you doing it? Are either of you guys doing Sling still? Byron, you still doing Sling? With the new El Rey on the expanded package, are you still doing it?
I am doing Sling because I'm not going to have cable in my apartment.
Gotcha. But have you gotten the extra tier package to still be able to get Lucha?
No, I just did the upgrade since I wouldn't be watching Wednesday nights right now anyway.
Gotcha. Well, somebody tell me if it's worth it because I'm still the jury's still out for me.
Wait, did I say upgrade? Or what did I say? I bought it on iTunes. I forgot what I said. It's like,
you illegally downloaded. It's fine. We don't mind.
I bought it on iTunes, so I get to watch it on my Apple TV in HD.
Oh, which is cool. I can abide by that. Listen, it's time to go. This has been a crazy week. I know I said some things. I apologize for the things. I don't apologize. Fuck apologizing. I meant everything I said. I'm mad at a lot of people. I'm mad at everyone who learns how to wrestle and puts a mask on and calls himself a luchador when they're not. I'm super duper mad at everyone at Lucha Underground for keeping me out of the temple for more than a year, especially considering the fact that I'm one of the few people that actually still wants to come there. Like, let me back in, tape a show, and book Cross a fucking angle already so we can see if it's hype or just garbage. Super mad about that stuff. Like, and super starting to agree with some of the talent that's super mad about that stuff. Like, I want to do this. Let's do this before I have to go and work again in some crazy state where I can't even come to tapings.
See, what you're doing is you're being the smangry guy, and it's like having fucking Son of Havoc and Son of Madness on the same show, Justin. Jesus Christ.
Oh, fuck that. I'm super mad about that angle. I just don't get it. I'm racking my brain for a way that there's a universe where it's okay that Councilman Delgado is dead and Son of Madness is alive. I just don't know if I can justify that. I'm super mad that Katrina didn't get more camera time.
Yeah.
I'm super mad that Vibra couldn't use Cobra Moon's coaching to get himself a win. I'm super mad at Ryan Bader and Phil Davis. Fuck those guys. I'll beat them both up in an alley. I'm not afraid because they're pussies. Super mad. I'm just super fucking mad this week.
I'm mad that Pentagon wasn't on the show, and I'm mad that Pentagon got fucking robbed at gunpoint. There you go.
I'm also super mad that Meatloaf loves Cuerno. Pisses me off.
I'm super mad that Meatloaf thinks Sting is better than The Undertaker.
You guys think you're so tough and all that, but how many podcasts did you thumbs down during this podcast? How many podcasts did you go on to their feed and thumbs them down?
None.
Actually, I thumbs down our own podcast to get you guys fired up.
Oh, I'm super mad at thumbs downs.
I'm super stoked that I gave someone a thumbs down while we were doing this.
I'm not mad that Byron looks a little bit like Kenny the Cleaner today. I'm not mad that Christopher Lee has been with us the whole time. I'm not mad at the chat room. Thank you guys all for hanging out. We appreciate it, from Vinny to Andre to Krabs to Daniel to who else was in there?
Meef.
I miss anybody?
Some British guy.
Yeah.
Meef.
Yeah.
I give Meef some love.
So
did Urban show up today? Urban did not show up today.
Fucking Zeus King was in there.
And J-Man is probably in transit also, or packing his bags.
I just want to
Zeus
say,
King, yeah, big props to Zeus King. He's an old school head like myself. Like he's in my age bracket.
if you listen or watch to the MMM show, you are hereby allowed to add King to the front of your name.
And all right, so I'm gonna say King Blackout MMM show shirt. This is my favorite MMM show shirt yet.
I want
You
that
can
one.
get these on Teespring. This is the black and red logo on a black shirt, so you just kind of see the outline of it, and then the back Mass Mats and Mayhem is all blacked out. So it's like you can wear an MMM show shirt and be incognito.
I want to be, I can't say it, but I want to be that.
You can't say that. We've had enough of that after Raw this week. I'm super mad at Raw. I'm super mad at the N-word being on Raw. Damn, I almost forgot about that. Oh.
Yeah, it was so much better when it was on Nitro that one time.
Well, that was Booker, right?
Yeah.
That was different. That was that was the same as Willie Mack dropping it.
He was taking it back from Hogan.
Different situations, different environments altogether. And Ball doing it just was like, ugh. Anyway, I'm super mad. I'm going to go and drink a cocktail now because I think that's the only thing that's going to help. You guys got anything else you want to say?
I want you to tweet me the link for that shirt so I can support my favorite podcast.
I will
that's
do
what
that.
everyone needed to hear that. Good night, everybody.
Stay cool and stay in the mix.
Stay cool. Mix it up, bitch.
You guys suck.
No, that's a Soundgarden song. I heard that. That's like Rusty Chain or something.
I should totally quit this show. I should quit. All right. Well, for Byron Fever, for at Lucha Gringo, and at MMM Show, at Justin Harvey 75. Until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.
Fuck you, Meatloaf.